Chapter 2:10. Female Magistrate. We've kowtowed according to your instructions. Now, we're even, the captain said loudly. Buffian was skeptical. In that case, get out of here. Okay. The captain responded and left with his team members. But before leaving, he was still a little worried. So he said again, don't worry. Female Magistrate, you have to keep your word. You said that we'll write everything off. You can't let your master come and settle the score with us. With that, the members of the Scorpion squad finally left. Buffian slowly walked out of the cave, still in a daze. My master. She had learned her skills on her own. She did not have a master. However, from the words of the Scorpion squad's captain before he left, Buffian could tell that he was afraid of her master and gave up on dealing with her. Who was this master that they thought of? In her daze, Buffian picked up some abandoned photos on the floor of the cave. She immediately understood why the Scorpion squad had come to her. It turned out that they were hired. One of the photos showed a broken weapon that had been broken by a tile. It also answered another question in her mind. It turned out that the master they thought of was the senior who had secretly saved her in the alley that day. Senior, you've saved my life again. Buffian was very grateful. She was a person who knew how to repay kindness. That senior had saved her twice, and she wanted to repay him. However, it was a pity that she did not know who that senior was. Sigh. Buffian sighed deeply and put away her thoughts for the time being. Then, she rushed to the airport to return to her country. After so many days of investigation, she finally found out who the scumbag who hurt her seventh sister was. In order to avenge her seventh sister, she had made up her mind to teach that scumbag a lesson that he would never forget. She wanted this scumbag to listen to Seventh Sister's every word from now on and treat Seventh Sister like the Empress Dowager. Captain, why did you let the female magistrate go when you were so close to getting it? That's 300 million. After the members of the Scorpion squad left, someone complained unwillingly. That female magistrate has a top-notch expert protecting her. There's no need to offend such a terrifying existence for the sake of 300 million. The captain explained calmly. Then, a sinister look appeared on his face. We're not the only ones who have their eyes on the female judge. Let's be generous and give her to Black Mamba and the others. Black Mamba was also an international assassin team. Their ranking was higher than Scorpion's, and they were ranked third on the assassin team rankings. In their profession, everyone in the same profession was an enemy. If the Black Mamba died, their ranking would naturally go up. Captain, you're really far-sighted. Hearing this explanation, the team members all understood and praised in unison. The reward of 300 million was quite high. Other than the Scorpion assassin group, many other assassin groups were also envious. However, judging from the strength of the team, other small assassin groups would not be the opponent of the female magistrate at all. They would just be sending themselves to their deaths. Only Scorpion and Black Mamba had the strength to deal with the female magistrate. Now that Scorpion had backed out, it fell on Black Mamba's head. If Black Mamba were to succeed, he would definitely cause a huge ruckus. A Superman-like existence on land could easily wipe out the Black Mamba. The next morning, Buffian returned to Fire Country and sneaked into Chiu Qianwei's villa at the top of the mountain. Although she had the information of the scumbag, it would take some time to find out who the scumbag was, given Qing Ling's age. So, she decided to start with Chiu Qianwei. She could see that Chiu Qianwei was very protective of the scumbag. Under the circumstance that Chiu Qianwei did not know that she was back, she might be intimate with the scumbag. It was just dawn. If she sneaked into the villa, she might be able to catch the scumbag directly. Buffian had been to Chiu Qianwei's villa several times and was quite familiar with the environment. On the sofa in the villa's hall, there were 7 to 8 sets of clothes of different styles and various kinds of socks. These clothes were made of little fabric and looked a little vulgar. It was completely different from Chiu Qianwei's usual style of dressing. However, this was Chiu Qianwei's private villa, so these clothes could only belong to her. How could the dignified and elegant Chiu Qianwei become like this? She was too depraved. Buffian was a little angry and looked around again. In addition to the sofa, there were also some clothes scattered on the floor. There were men's and women's clothes. The tracks of these clothes led to Qiu Qianwei's bedroom. It seemed that the scumbag was really here. Bu Fian barged into Qiu Qianwei's bedroom angrily. She looked around and saw that there was only one person. Qiu Qianwei's face turned pale when she saw that someone had barged in. She was slightly relieved when she saw the person's face, but she still could not help but complain. Fourth sister, you scare me to death. Bu Fian looked at Qiu Qianwei and asked, where's the scumbag? Qiu Qianwei was secretly glad that a certain someone had left early. If he had been a little later, he would have bumped into Qiu Qianwei. Qiu Qianwei muttered, fourth sister, why are you still thinking about this? I've already told you that it was all a misunderstanding. Why are you still thinking about finding trouble with him? As she spoke, she cleaned up the small umbrella on the floor with a red face. Bu Fian's face turned red, and she said in surprise, Qiu Qianwei, I think you've been bewitched by him. Isn't it a little too fast? Qiu Qianwei finished cleaning up and threw everything into the trash can. She said matter-of-factly, it's natural when a relationship reaches a certain level. Sixth sister, you'll understand me when you find someone you like in the future. Bu Fian snorted and refuted. Even if I have someone I like, I'll treat him with respect and keep a distance. I won't be as depraved as you. Qiu Qianwei rubbed her red knees and said nonchalantly, fourth sister, I'm very happy now. Don't worry about me. Bu Fian insisted, I think you're just suffering. Fourth sister, you don't understand at all. Is there anything in this world that I don't understand? Anyway, I'm doing this for your own good. I have to take care of this matter. I'll help you educate him into a model boyfriend. Seeing that Qiu Qianwei could not get through to her, Bu Fian gave up the idea of persuading her. She then walked out of the bedroom and checked the surveillance camera in the villa. Soon, she saw a handsome man on the surveillance camera at the entrance of the villa. Bu Fian took out the photos she got from the hotel overseas and compared them. She immediately confirmed that this was the scumbag. Judging from the time, this scumbag left the villa 10 minutes before she arrived. She almost bumped into him. Bu Fian felt a little regretful, but it was just a fleeting emotion. It was only a matter of time before she found this scumbag. Chapter 211. Bu Fian carefully checked the footage of Wang Haoran leaving the villa to find clues. In a video, Wang Haoran's action of picking up the item that he had dropped caught her attention. The item that dropped was a paper item. Bu Fian immediately zoomed in and found that the paper item was a plane ticket. The camera's resolution was very high. After zooming in, she could clearly see the time on the plane ticket, as well as the starting and ending points. PJ Island was a couple's vacation spot. If Wang Haoran didn't bring Qiming there for a vacation, then he must have brought another woman. How dare he? Bu Fian was furious. She left the mountaintop villa and immediately rushed to PJ Island. She had already made up her mind to cut off Wang Haoran. As for the bad woman who went on vacation with Wang Haoran, she couldn't let her go either. She would tie her to a telephone pole and show it to the public. PJ Island was located in the tropics. It was lush with greenery and covered with beaches and bays. From a bird's eye view, it looked like a green pearl on the sea. It was one of the most famous tourist attractions in the world. The island was rich in rubber, coconuts, cashews, and pineapples. There was also a shrimp farm and a pearl farm. There were many aquatic activities here, such as swimming, diving, water skiing, canoeing, windsurfing, and many more. It was the peak season, so there were many tourists. They were both young and old, but most of them were couples. On the beach, it was easy to see couples taking wedding photos. After Wang Haoran and Ji Shuiyao arrived, the latter was a little airsick and rested for a while. It wasn't until the afternoon that Ji Shuiyao fully recovered. Ji Shuiyao apologized. I'm sorry to have troubled you. Wang Haoran shook his head nonchalantly. It's okay. We're here for vacation anyway. Through the window, he looked at the clear weather and beautiful tropical scenery outside. He was immediately eager to give it a try and said, I want to go out and have some fun. Are you staying in the hotel to read? Or, Ji Shuiyao immediately replied, let's go together. I'm going to change. With that, Wang Haoran left for a while. When she came back, she put on her sunglasses, beach shorts, and a tank top. Ji Shuiyao was still wearing the same dress as when she arrived, but she had brought along a collector for collecting liquid and solid specimens. Wang Haoren was dumbfounded. Was she really here to study the ecological environment here? After regaining his senses, Wang Haoren asked, "Aren't you going to change your clothes?" Ji Shuiyao was confused. "What clothes?" Wang Haoren couldn't help but laugh. "Of course I'm going out to play in the water." "Ah." Ji Shuiyao was stunned. Her face turned red as she said, "I'm not used to it. That's all." Wang Haoren did not insist. "Up to you then." When they arrived at the hotel lobby, Wang Haoren took out his phone and opened the guide. He picked a scenic spot and said to Ji Shuiyao, "Let's go. How about going to the Crescent Moon Bay to row a boat?" "All right." Ji Shuiyao nodded. A sightseeing bus passed by the hotel. Wang Haoren and Ji Shuiyao got on the bus and headed to the destination. At the same time, an uninvited guest visited the hotel they had stayed in. "I'm from the LB Bureau of Investigation of Country M. I'm tracking an international criminal. Have you seen this person?" Bufian took out a fake ID and forged an identity. She asked the woman at the front desk in a fluent foreign language. As an international assassin, she was proficient in many languages and had no language barriers at all. The woman at the front desk looked at the ID carefully and did not find anything wrong with it. She immediately believed Bufian's identity. "Yes, I've seen him. He just went out with a beautiful woman." The combination of Wang Haoren and Ji Shuiyao was particularly eye-catching. Therefore, when she saw Wang Haoren's photo, she immediately recognized him. "Where did they go?" Bufian asked. The woman at the front desk replied, "I just heard them say that they were going to row a boat at the Crescent Moon Bay." Bufian nodded and said seriously, "Thank you for your cooperation. If the criminal is caught, you will be rewarded." The woman at the front desk nodded blankly. Bufian walked out of the hotel and waited for a few minutes before getting on a sightseeing bus. The target is on the number 18 sightseeing bus. Near the hotel entrance, a man pretending to be a tourist reported in a low voice to the headset clipped to his collar. There was a miniature black mamba tattoo on the man's arm. A sightseeing bus arrived at the Crescent Moon Bay scenic spot. Both sides of the bay were karst terrains, showing the wonders of nature. It was a wonderful sight. Small boats could be seen drifting in the water. The boat was filled with pairs of men and women. They were either fooling around or laughing. Some of the bolder ones were even engaging in intimate interactions as if no one else was around. Ji Shuiyao only glanced at them and felt her face turn red. Wang Haoren glanced at Ji Shuiyao's expression and smiled. He went to the scenic spot and rented a boat. Then, the two got on the boat and merged into the picturesque scenery. Wang Haoren did not deliberately move the oars. He lay on the bow deck and basked in the sun, letting the boat drift. Ji Shuiyao had originally brought along her collection tools, but after seeing this magnificent scenery, she couldn't help but relax. She abandoned her usual complicated movements and enjoyed this rare moment of leisure and contentment. Splash! There was a sound of something falling into the water. Ji Shuiyao, who was at the stern, heard the sound from the bow and immediately ran over to take a look. Wang Haoren, who was at the bow of the ship, was nowhere to be seen. On the surface of the water beside the bow of the ship, circles of ripples spread out in all directions. Obviously, Wang Haoren fell into the water. However, Ji Shuiyao did not panic because she had seen Wang Haoren's diving skills last time. Even if he accidentally fell into the water, it would not be a big problem. But out of concern, she still shouted at the water, "Wang Haoren!" The ripples gradually calmed down and the water returned to normal. There was no movement. Ji Shuiyao suddenly became worried. She took off her shoes, jumped from the bow, and plunged into the water. 2 minutes later, Ji Shuiyao dragged the unconscious Wang Haoren out of the water and struggled to drag Wang Haoren onto the boat. Ji Shuiyao was exhausted. Fortunately, she was good at swimming. Otherwise, she would not have been able to drag him out. After rescuing Wang Haoren, she did not have time to rest. She quickly pushed Wang Haoren and shouted in his ear, "Wake up! Wake up! Don't scare me!" Wang Haoren did not move. Seeing this, Ji Shuiyao became even more anxious. She immediately took first aid measures, artificial respiration. She had learned these first aid measures from books and had never used them before. She was very unfamiliar with them, but the steps were still standard. However, Wang Haoren still did not wake up after a series of operations. Ji Shuiyao was so anxious that tears flowed out, but there was nothing else she could do except continue with the first aid measures. However, just as she lowered her head again, she felt her neck being held and could not straighten up. Chapter 2:12. Ji Shuiyao's eyes widened in surprise, but she quickly understood. She was tricked. Out of modesty, she subconsciously wanted to push the person in front of her away, but when she did so, she found that she couldn't muster any strength. Instead, she inadvertently hooked her arms around the neck of the person in front of her and immersed herself in it. After an unknown amount of time, Ji Shuiyao was finally able to free herself. She desperately breathed in the air for a while before her violently beating heart calmed down a little. Then, she looked at Wang Haoren in embarrassment. She was about to say something. Wang Haoren beat her to it and said in a serious tone, "The continuation of life is an instinct deeply engraved in the genes of every living thing. In a situation where they can't live forever, most living things will choose to mate to leave behind offspring as a way to continue themselves. In order to make their offspring better, human males can't control themselves in front of outstanding females because this is an instinct engraved in their genes. I'm sorry for lying to you just now, but I can't help it because I can't control myself." As a scientist, Ji Shuiyao knew that the influence of the fragments engraved in the genes couldn't be controlled by reason. She nodded in agreement and said to Wang Haoren, It's okay, it's not your fault." Ding! The host has successfully tricked the female lead, Ji Shuiyao. Received 600 villain points. Lin Shin's protagonist aura -30. Host villain aura +30. That's really going to work. After receiving the system notification, Wang Haoren was secretly surprised. Because Ji Shuiyao's personality and profession were special, Wang Haoren suddenly had an idea when he was sunbathing at the front of the boat. So, he decided to try it out. He really didn't expect it to work on Ji Shuiyao. Of course, the prerequisite for this to work was that Ji Shuiyao's favorability towards him was at 70. If it was any lower, he would probably be kicked off the boat by Ji Shuiyao. Wang Haoren wanted to strike while the iron was hot and wanted to go deeper. So he said to Ji Shuiyao, "There's a small island over there. The scenery looks good. Why don't we go there and take a look?" There were some small boats coming and going here, which was very inconvenient. Of course, they had to change their location. Ji Shuiyao didn't think too much about it. She nodded and said, "Yes, it does look beautiful. Let's go take a look." Wang Haoren struggled to move the oars, allowing the small boat to quickly approach the small island not far away. As he was in a hurry, Wang Haoren did not notice that a motorized ship was moving towards him. After a while, the boat arrived at the island. Wang Haoren tied up the boat and boarded the island with Ji Shuiyao. The island was lush and verdant, with birds chirping and flowers fragrant, and the scenery was pleasant. Wang Haoren and Ji Shuiyao walked around for a while before suddenly clutching their stomachs and frowning. Ji Shuiyao asked with concern, "What's wrong? Does your stomach hurt?" Wang Haoren nodded and said, "A little. Wait for me here for a while. I'm going to relieve myself. I'll be back soon." Ji Shuiyao reminded him, "Go ahead, but don't go into the dense forest. Be careful of snakes." Wang Haoren didn't take it seriously and said, "Don't worry, nothing will happen." After saying that, he directly went into the dense forest. "Oh, why don't you listen to me?" Ji Shuiyao was anxious and wanted to stop him, but Wang Haoren walked too fast. Soon, he entered the dense forest. She couldn't chase after him for fear of bumping into something she shouldn't see, so she could only wait anxiously. At this time, a fast boat quietly approached the small island and stopped near a small boat. Bufian boarded the small island and looked at the number 7 on the boat. She was immediately sure that the target she was looking for was on the small island, because when she was renting the boat, she had already inquired about Wang Haoren. She knew that Wang Haoren and a woman had rented a boat number 7. Now that the boat was here, the person must be on the small island. Bufian followed the new footprints on the road and searched the small island. Not long after she left the shore, another boat approached. 8 people walked down from a boat. Each of them had a black mamba tattooed on their arms and held long-range cold weapons in their hands. It wasn't that they were too poor and couldn't get firearms, but that the tourist area was too strict and they couldn't bring those things in. However, the lethality of long-range cold weapons was not weak. It was far enough. The target has landed on the island. Everyone, get into position and try to kill her in one shot. These 8 people were well trained. After the leader spoke, they quickly blended into the forest on the small island and quietly began to move to other parts of the small island. On the other side, Bufian followed the footprints and soon saw the back of a woman. The island wasn't big. Apart from her boat, the only other boat on the island was boat number 7. Needless to say, this must be the bad woman. But why did this woman's back look a little familiar? While she was puzzled, the woman looked around, and soon her face appeared in Bufian's vision. 6th sister. Bufian was startled. She didn't hide anymore and directly walked out. 4th sister? Why are you here? Ji Shuiyao was surprised. Bufian said seriously, I should be the one asking you. Why are you with 7th sister's boyfriend? Ji Shuiyao was stunned. 7th sister's boyfriend? She was stunned for a moment before she reacted. You mean Wang Haoren? Bufian nodded. Yes, that's the name. It's him. Ji Shuiyao was a little jealous. She said blankly, I really didn't know he was 7th sister's boyfriend. Bufian said, 6th sister. Now that you know, what do you plan to face 7th sister? Ji Shuiyao explained, there's nothing between us. I want to ask him some questions about science, so I came here with him for a vacation. Bufian didn't believe her. Are you serious? Ji Shuiyao said, 4th sister, do I need to lie to you? Bufian pursed her lips and questioned, 6th sister, I know you quite well. Ask yourself honestly, are you really going on vacation with her just to ask her a question? Ji Shuiyao looked away and said guiltily, 4th sister, don't tell 7th sister about this. I don't want to hurt our relationship. Bufian said angrily, it's fine if 7th sister is naive and gullible, but how can you be so gullible when you're so educated? What's so good about that scumbag? Ji Shuiyao defended herself. He's a knowledgeable and rare genius scientist. He's not a scumbag. Bufian said disdainfully. So what if he's knowledgeable? He's still a weak scholar. A real man should practice martial arts. Zhao Ku wears a beard. Wu Go shines like snow. Silver Saddle shines on a white horse. Valiant like a shooting star. Killing 1 in 10 steps. Unstoppable for 1,000 miles. Ji Shuiyao hastily interrupted her. 4th elder sister, you have recited this poem in front of me at least 1,000 times. I can recite it backwards. You don't have to recite it anymore. After stopping Bufian from reciting the poem, she reminded her again. She stopped Bufian and said, 4th sister, don't tell 7th sister about this. Chapter 2:13. I want to talk about it. You know what you're doing. Bufian was too lazy to argue about it. Then, she asked angrily, where's that Wang Haoren? That scumbag dared to have designs on her 6th sister even though he already had her 7th sister. He must be tired of living. He had to put him to death to prevent him from harming others. Why is this woman here to cause trouble again? Wang Haoren, who was hiding in the forest, couldn't help but complain when he saw Bufian suddenly appear. It was the same with Qiu Qianwei last time, and it was the same with Ji Shuiyao this time. He originally wanted to use the excuse of going to the bathroom to lie that he was bitten by a snake and was about to die. Before he died, he had a wish that Ji Shuiyao would agree to, based on Ji Shuiyao's reaction to the incident of falling into the water, he could probably get it. However, Bufian's sudden appearance directly messed up this matter. What should I do? Wang Haoren began to think. Rustle. He heard a faint sound of something moving in the grass. Could it be a large beast? Wang Haoren was slightly shocked and immediately activated his X-ray vision. Seeing Bufian's unfriendly expression, Ji Shuiyao asked warily, 4th sister, why are you looking for Wang Haoren? Bufian said, don't worry about that. Just tell me where he is, As she spoke, Bufian, with her sensitive hearing, suddenly heard a strange sound. She suddenly lunged forward. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Bufian rolled on the ground with Ji Shueiyao in her arms. Sharp arrows were deeply embedded in the ground where they were just standing. Assassin. Because of the ambush last time, Bufian's nerves were more sensitive. Seeing this scene, she immediately turned pale with fright. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. However, before she could think any further, more arrows came flying from the surrounding forest. Bufian carried her sixth sister and continued to dodge. One of the arrows grazed the top of her head and almost killed her. After a round of arrows, the surrounding forest stopped moving for a second or two. Obviously, the other party was reloading arrows. In this extremely short period of time, Bufian also quickly thought about the possibility of escaping, and the result was 0. These assassins had clearly come prepared. Bufian knew that even if she were to face them alone, she might not be able to escape alive. But now, she had to bring along her sixth sister who had no strength at all. Abandoning sixth sister and running away by herself was something she absolutely could not do. If he insisted on protecting sixth sister, only death awaited him. However, Bufian still held on to a glimmer of hope. Everyone, you're here for me. Why do you have to hurt irrelevant people? I'm willing to resign myself to death. Otherwise, if you push me too far, I'll at least drag some people down with me. As soon as he finished speaking, no more arrows came flying from the surrounding forest. The people hiding in the forest also slowly walked out. Ji Shuiyao's face drained of all color. Fourth sister, Bufian said. Sixth sister, don't be afraid. I won't let anything happen to you. She then tore a piece of cloth and used it to cover Ji Shuiyao's eyes. As an assassin, she knew how cruel and merciless these people in the same profession were. But if Sixth Sister had not seen them, there might have been a slight chance of survival. Although this possibility was very, very small, she had no other choice now. 8 assassins walked out from all directions with crossbows in their hands and aimed at Bufian. When they were about 10 steps away from her, they quickly stopped. These people were the 8 core assassins of the Black Mamba assassin group. In a one-on-one situation, they knew that they were no match for the female judge. Although they had the advantage in numbers, they were still very cautious. This was because within 10 steps, the female judge, as the #1 assassin, could kill the 8 of them in an instant. Bufian could not help but feel a little regretful when she saw these people being so cautious. Then, Bufian turned Ji Shuiyao's body and made her face in a direction. Then, she gently pushed her and said, Sixth sister, walk straight ahead. After 20 steps, tear off the cloth on your face. But don't look back. Immediately get on the boat and leave. Ji Shuiyao said bitterly. Fourth sister, I don't, Bufian interrupted her. Do you want me to die with regrets? Hearing this, Ji Shuiyao struggled for a while, but in the end, she made the decision to do as her fourth sister said. Ji Shuiyao slowly moved her feet, but when she passed by a Black Mamba assassin, an arrow was pointed at her neck. Don't move. Ji Shuiyao froze and did not dare to move at all. Bufian said angrily, You went back on your words. She was prepared to die, but she still wanted to win a chance for Ji Shuiyao to live. But in the end, it was just wishful thinking. The leader of the assassins sneered like a poisonous snake. The most important thing for an assassin is to kill the target. We are in the same profession. Don't you think it's funny to talk about honor with us? After saying this to Bufian, the leader immediately ordered, Don't leave anyone alive. Before he could finish the word mouth, his voice suddenly stopped. There was a leaf between his eyebrows. Half of the leaf was embedded between his eyebrows. The leader's tall and strong body fell to the ground with a thud. Killing with a leaf. Bufian was stunned. She also cultivated inner force, so she knew how difficult it was to reach this level. The remaining 7 assassins who saw this scene could not help but panic. They looked around, trying to find the enemy in the dark. However, before they could react, several more leaves flew over. The 7 assassins fell like wheat being cut. In less than 3 breaths of time, the 8 assassins were all killed. Hearing the strange movements around her, Ji Shuiyao also tore off the cloth covering her eyes and scanned the surroundings. She screamed in fright, thinking that it was Bufian who did it. She ran to Bufian's side and said in surprise and joy, "Fourth sister, you're amazing. If I had this ability, I wouldn't have hugged you and run around just now," Bufian said in shame. Then, with a strong fanatical look of worship, she looked around. This killing with a leaf was similar to the skill of the senior who saved her before. Could it be the same person? Recently, she had been thinking about finding that senior, but there was no news at all. Now, when his life was in danger, this senior had appeared again. Bufian was overjoyed. Chapter 214. Just as Bufian was filled with anticipation and excitement, Wang Haoran slowly walked out of the forest. Bufian cried out in shock, "Scumbag, why are you here?" Wang Haoran teased, "What scum? I've saved you twice. You're really impudent. Didn't you call me senior last time?" Hearing this, Bufian confirmed that Wang Haoran was the senior who saved her. After a long while, she couldn't help but say, "Actually, to be precise, you have saved me 3 times." After saying that, she couldn't help but look at Wang Haoran carefully. She originally thought that the senior who saved her was an old man, but who knew that he was a young man who was younger than her. Moreover, he was too good-looking. Ding, the host has revealed his identity as a top expert. The female lead Bufian's favorability towards the host has increased by 50. Current favorability is 50, admiration. Ding, the host has influenced the plot. Obtained 1800 villain points. Lin Shen's protagonist aura -90. The host's villain aura +90. Receiving the system notification, Wang Haoran was slightly surprised, but he soon felt that it was reasonable. It was indeed an exaggeration to add 50 favorable impression points all of a sudden. But if one were to really calculate it, it was accumulated. First of all, this Bufian was not like Ji Shuiyao, who ignored the charm of appearance. Wang Haoran's condition alone was enough for Bufian to generate 20 points of favorability. That day in the alley, Wang Haoran inadvertently saved Bufian once. Today, he had saved her once again. Wang Haoran wasn't too sure about the last time, but since Bufian said it was 3 times, then it was 3 times. 3 times a hero saved a beauty, and each time it was 10 points of favorability. All these added up to exactly 50. After Bufian found out that Wang Haoran was the senior she wanted to see, her attitude became much more respectful. As for standing up for her 7th sister, she directly threw it to the back of her mind. Firstly, she was not an ungrateful person. Secondly, and most importantly, she was no match for him. She looked at Wang Haoran and asked weakly, "Senior, what do you cultivate? Can you teach me?" Wang Haoran said sternly, "I don't accept disciples." He had no intention of teaching anyone, and he couldn't teach them anyway. Bufian was a little disappointed when she heard Wang Haoran's words. However, she still didn't want to miss such an opportunity, so she said, "I don't dare to hope to become your disciple. I only hope that you can give me some pointers. Just a little will do." When Wang Haoran saw how persistent she was, he could only say, "Give me the dagger you tied to your thigh." Bufian was shocked. She was wearing loose trousers. This senior actually knew that she was hiding a dagger. She couldn't help but say, "Senior, you're too amazing. But how did you know I hid the dagger here?" As she spoke, she took out the short sword that was tied to her thigh. Hearing this, Wang Haoran directly ignored this question and didn't answer. He couldn't possibly say that he saw it with his X-ray vision, right? After taking the dagger from Bufian, Wang Haoran made a simple action of drawing out the dagger and sheathing it back into the scabbard. Then, Wang Haoran threw the dagger back to Bufian and asked mysteriously, "Do you understand now?" Bufian was stunned and shook her head in shame. "I don't understand." Wang Haoran sighed. "You don't even understand this. Your aptitude is too poor. Go and comprehend it yourself." Bufian nodded solemnly, yes. Wang Haoran laughed secretly, but his expression didn't change. Not to mention Bufian, even he himself didn't understand. He was just fooling around. On the side, Ji Shuiyao, who had survived the disaster, slowly walked over. She looked at Wang Haoren and asked with a complicated expression, "You and seventh sister really?" Hearing this, Wang Haoren couldn't help but secretly glare at Bu Fian. Bu Fian told Ji Shuiyao everything about him and Qiu Qianwei. Now that Ji Shuiyao already had a grudge against him, it wouldn't be so easy to trick her, unless the favorability level increased a little more. Wang Haoren faced Ji Shuiyao's gaze and could only nod and reply, "Yes, I'm with your seventh sister." Ding! Host made the female lead, Ji Shuiyao, jealous. Reward: 400 villain points. Ding! Host made the female lead, Bu Fian, jealous. Reward: 200 villain points. Ji Shuiyao was jealous, but on the surface she still smiled. Seventh sister is dignified, elegant, and gentle. She's really a good match for you. Congratulations. Bu Fian didn't say anything, but in her heart, she was envious of her seventh sister, Qiu Qianwei. At the same time, she finally understood why her seventh sister, who was so outstanding, was so loyal to Wang Haoren. Wang Haoren looked at the dead assassins around him. This is not a place to stay for long. Let's leave quickly. Because of this incident, Wang Haoren saw that he couldn't trick Ji Shuiyao for the time being, so he brought Ji Shuiyao back to China the next day. Bu Fian stayed behind to clean up the mess. Other than the 8 core assassins of Black Mamba, there were some ordinary members left. She needed to deal with these small fries. After returning, Ji Shuiyao didn't take the initiative to contact Wang Haoren, and there wasn't much movement from Lin Chen's side. During this period, Wang Haoren looked for Ji Shuiyao, but Ji Shuiyao refused to meet him. It seemed that she was deliberately avoiding him. Wang Haoren saw this and didn't force it. He took this time to have a good rest. Unknowingly, it was almost time for Qingling University to start school. Some students from all over the country also arrived at the school one after another. Wang Haoren was a local, so naturally, he didn't need to be so early. Therefore, he directly arrived at the school on the last day of registration. There was a reception area for new students near the school gate. Most of the people at the reception area were seniors. Wang Haoren came to the new student registration area to register, and these seniors surrounded him like wolves and tigers. After clicking, the seniors sent Wang Haoren all the way to the new student dormitory before reluctantly leaving. Although Wang Haoren planned to live off campus, he needed to submit an application, and it couldn't be done in such a short time. Since he had just entered the school, he could only live in the dormitory temporarily. The dormitory was a standard 4-person dormitory. When Wang Haoren arrived at the dormitory, there were already 3 people living in it. These 3 people were all rich second-generation heirs. One of them was called Lu Hua. His family was in the food and beverage industry and had assets of about 5 billion. One of them was called Lu Ming. His family owned a supermarket chain and had assets of about 5 billion. One of them was called Peng Zhihong. His family was in the seafood trade and had assets of about 1 billion. Because of their superior family conditions, these 3 people were very arrogant and domineering. At first glance, it was obvious that they were the template of villains who had been slapped in the face. Wang Haoren's villainous halo had now reached the level of 3,696. With such a high villainous halo, other than the bonus of luck, it could easily make other little villains worship him. Therefore, the 3 of them unanimously elected Wang Haoren as the boss. The other 3 were ranked according to their family's assets, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. In the dormitory, it was harmonious, drinking and chatting happily. Wang Haoren didn't mind interacting with these 3 people. Because these 3 people all had the same mocking face, if they went out, it was very likely that they would attract the attention of the protagonists. Wang Haoren's current strength was already very strong, and he didn't need to be as cautious as before. He could deal with multiple protagonists at the same time. Chapter 215. After drinking beer, the 4 of them became familiar with each other and started to talk freely. Lu Hua scrolled through the campus forum and said happily, "There are so many beauties in this year's freshmen. Look, there are 3 girls who have been named the Campus Belle." Lu Ming and Wei Zhihong came over. In the campus forum, some busybodies counted the beauties in the freshmen and posted their photos on the forum. The students who browsed the forum rated the beauties with an average score of 92 and above. However, this year's freshman was different from the past because the quality of the beauties in this year's freshmen was too high. Among them, 3 of the freshman beauties had an average score of 95 and above. Lu Hua said infatuatedly, "This one called Qin Yunhan looks good. I'll vote for her." As he said that, he tapped on his phone and gave her 100 points after voting. Lu Ming said, "I think this Su Mu Yin looks better." Wei Zhihong said, "This one called Mu Zhao Zhao is the beauty. Look at her body. Oh my God." As he spoke, his saliva inadvertently flowed out. The 3 of them had their own preferences and voted one after another. Then, they looked at Wang Haoren and asked, "Boss, who do you prefer? Pick one and go after her." Listening to the 3's discussion, Wang Haoren didn't find it strange. Qin Yunhan, Su Muyin, and Mu Zhao Zhao were originally the campus belle models. He didn't find it strange that they would cause such a stir. Wang Haoren took a sip of beer and said directly, "I want all 3 of them." Zhang Hua, Lu Ming, and Wei Zhihong were a little stunned. They immediately gave Wang Haoren a thumbs up. "Boss, you're awesome. Is there a campus belle among the seniors?" The 3 campus belle among the freshmen were all within Wang Haoren's expectations. He was more concerned about whether there was a female lead among the sophomores, juniors, and seniors. "I heard that there's one in the sophomores and juniors. It's worse for the seniors. There's none." Lu Hua was the first to arrive and had the most information. There are only 2 campus belle among the seniors. Wang Haoren was a little disappointed. The high school he studied in before had 3 campus belle. This university was weak. Not counting the freshmen, there were only 2. Lu Hua suddenly smiled slyly and said, "Boss, it's too easy for you to chase the campus belle. Why don't you challenge a higher difficulty?" Wang Haoren was puzzled. "What do you mean?" Lu Hua said, "I've already asked around. Our university has 3 goddess-level professors. They're especially beautiful. If I can woo one of them, it'll definitely be great." "Comms. Quick, tell me." Lu Hua said, "It's Professor Lu Yu from our finance department. She's only 22 years old. I was lucky enough to see her once that day. She's so beautiful. She's even more attractive than the campus belle among the freshmen. She's also a rich woman who earned tens of billions with her own abilities." Lu Ming asked, "Did you take a photo?" Wei Zhihong also urged, "Yeah, where's the photo? Hurry up and show it to me." Lu Hua said, "I was so focused on looking at her that I forgot to take a photo. But we're from the finance department. We'll probably see Professor Lu Yu when class starts." The finance department's super genius, Lu Yu. Wang Haoren secretly remembered this name. Judging from Lu Yu's appearance, she was most likely one of the female leads in the movie. He just didn't know her ranking. Wang Haoren continued to ask, "You said there were 3 female professors. What about the other 2? Lu Hua replied, "The other 2 are new to our university. One of them is from the music department. She's an internationally famous pianist. Not long ago, she won a super awesome international award. Her name is Qiu Qinwei. You guys should have heard of her, right?" Lu Ming said excitedly, "Of course. I saw her on the news a while ago. She's as beautiful as a fairy." Wei Zhihong said, "I've heard of her too. It said that she was raped by a scumbag. I really envy that scumbag." The 3 of them sighed and then looked at Wang Haoren. "Boss, have you heard of her?" Wang Haoren nodded. He thought to himself, "Not only have I heard of her, but I've also slept with her." Of course, he wouldn't be stupid enough to say such things. Wang Haoren didn't find it strange that Qiu Qianwei suddenly came to Qingling University to be a professor. Qiu Qianwei had mentioned some time ago that she wanted to have more opportunities to meet him. At that time, Wang Haoren didn't ask in detail. It turned out that Qiu Qianwei had made such a plan. She directly came to Qingling University to be a professor. Only she could think of such a thing. Lu Hua continued, "The other one is from the Department of Marine Biology. She's known as the world's youngest scientist, Ji Shuiyao." Before Lu Hua could finish, Wang Haoren couldn't help but interrupt. Lu Hua was surprised. "Boss, you know her?" Wang Haoren was surprised and couldn't help but laugh. Ever since she came back from the trip, Ji Shuiyao had deliberately avoided it. However, she couldn't hold it in anymore. Otherwise, she wouldn't have come to Qingling University to be a professor. 5 campus bells and 3 goddess professors. Altogether, there were 8 female leads. Currently, the only known lead in the university was Lin Shun. Other than him, there were probably other leads. So many leads and female leads. It seemed that this university life would be quite interesting. Qingling University's military training was different from most other universities. Most universities had military training when they enrolled. However, Qingling University's military training was in the first semester of the second year. When the new students finished reporting, they were assigned to their respective classes. In the Department of Finance, Wang Haoren's class was electing class leaders. In the class, Wang Haoren saw a few familiar faces. One was Mu Zhao and the other was Wen Jing. When they filled in their application, they all applied for the Department of Finance. Now, they were in the same class. Other than the two of them, there was another familiar face. It was the child prodigy, Lin Shun. Under the call of the homeroom teacher, the new class was having a class meeting. The class meeting was mainly for the students to introduce themselves and get to know each other. When the 8-year-old Lin Shun went on stage, he immediately attracted a lot of attention. Lin Shun's little mouth was almost in the sky. Seeing this, Wang Haoren could naturally guess that this guy had received a lot of points. Soon, it was Wang Haoren's turn to go on stage. His outstanding appearance and off-the-chart charm won the favor of many girls in the class and won a round of applause. The limelight was not much worse than Lin Shun's. The only difference was that Lin Shun received points as a reward. What Wang Haoren received was the secret flirtatious glances of many girls. After the self-introduction, they immediately entered the process of electing class leaders. Wang Haoren was elected as the class monitor because of his high popularity. Chapter 2:16. Wang Haoren had to deal with some trivial matters before school started. Soon, it was time for the first finance class. It was the goddess professor from the finance department, Lu Yu. The time of the first class was a little unusual because it was at 9 o'clock in the evening and the location was in the computer room. At this time, the students from the other departments had already finished their classes. However, everyone had heard of Lu Yu's name more or less, so they were all looking forward to the class. When class was about to start, Wang Haoren's finance department class all went to the designated computer room. However, everyone was either talking or fooling around, so the computer room was in a mess. Tap, tap. Outside the computer room, there was a rhythmic sound of high heels clicking on the floor, and it was getting closer and closer. Soon, the fairy-like Lu Yu walked into the computer room. Lu Yu didn't say anything about the commotion around her. She just looked at the time. Seeing this, Lin Shun went over with joy. Fifth sister. The solemn Lu Yu revealed a smile on her face, but it quickly disappeared. I'm your teacher now. Go back to your seat. Okay, Professor Lu. Lin Shun obediently returned to his seat and sat there quietly. He looked like an obedient child who couldn't be any more obedient. Lu Yu sat on the podium in the computer room and looked down at the watch on her wrist. Below the podium, Wang Haoren had been paying attention to Lu Yu. He heard the conversation between Lin Shun and Lu Yu just now. As one of the female protagonists in the novel, Lu Yu's looks, figure, and temperament were all top-notch. She was a proper goddess. She was able to become a professor in the finance department at such a young age and earn tens of billions. She was definitely a super genius in finance. After Lu Yu entered the computer room, everyone stopped fooling around and some people returned to their seats. However, there were still some crazy students who continued fooling around. Not long after, Lu Yu retracted her gaze from her watch and asked in a gentle voice, "It's time for class. Have you guys had enough fun?" When the students who were fooling around heard this, they immediately returned to their seats. Lu Yu continued, "Qingling University is an institution of higher learning, and the teaching standards of our Department of Finance are among the top 3 in the country. The fact that you can come to the Department of Finance proves that you are very outstanding." Hearing those words, many of the students couldn't help but clap. Because of Lu Yu's praise, they were also cheering for themselves. Wang Haoren followed the crowd and clapped perfunctorily. However, He inadvertently glanced at Lin Shun with his arms crossed, and a mocking smile appeared on his face. Wang Haoran noticed Lin Chen's subtle expression and immediately felt that something was amiss. However, he couldn't pinpoint exactly what was wrong and could only subconsciously look at Lu Yu. Lu Yu changed the topic and continued. However, to a certain extent, you are also trash. Her tone gradually became sharper. When I was your age, I had already obtained a doctorate in finance and earned the first pot of money in my life, 100 million yuan. As for your classmate, Lin Shun, he's only 8 years old, and he's already in the same class as you. You're only 18 years old. Don't you feel ashamed? The classroom was completely silent. Lu Yu continued. Since you're all silent, it seems that you still have a sense of shame. You're not completely hopeless. She paused for a moment and continued. The finance department is different from other departments because after you graduate, you'll be working in the finance department. It's very risky. You might become famous and rich, but you might also lose everything if you're not careful. Therefore, I hope that when you're in school, you'll have 1,000% correct attitude. In the future, when it's almost time for class, I want to see you sitting properly and not making a racket. You make the classroom look like a wet market. This is your first offense, so I won't pursue the matter. However, if there's a next time, all your credits will be deducted. After she finished speaking, Lu Yu suddenly stopped talking. The classroom was completely silent because they were all stunned. Lu Yu continued. Is it because I'm not speaking clearly, or is it because you're old and can't hear clearly? Don't you have any reaction? Yes, Professor Lu. Lin Shin took the lead and said. After that, the other students quickly responded. Very good, class starts now. Lu Yu said, turn on the computer in front of you and register your accounts on the security software. After being frightened by Lu Yu, everyone became more obedient and started to get busy. After the accounts were registered, Lu Yu operated the main computer in the computer room. Not long after, the students' accounts received 5,000 M in cash. Everyone was stunned for a moment. Lu Yu took out a large stack of documents and asked, Who's the class monitor? Come here for a moment. Wang Haoran stood up and walked in front of Lu Yu. Hello, Professor Lu. Hearing that, Lu Yu sized up Wang Haoran a few more times. Her gaze was slightly stunned. It was obvious that she was stunned by Wang Haoran's charm. However, this only lasted for a few seconds. Lu Yu came back to her senses and handed out the documents in her hands. Everyone, take a copy and distribute it. Wang Haoran nodded and distributed the thick documents to the students. This is the first lesson I'm going to give you, a practical stock trading lesson. Right now, all of you have 5,000 M in your accounts. The documents in your hands have all been carefully sorted out by me. According to this information, you can choose a stock. The time limit is 1 hour. If you earn 6% or more, you pass. If you earn 1% to 6%, you have to stand during my next lesson. After hearing Lu Yu's words, a student couldn't help but ask, Professor Lu, what if we lose money? Lu Yu smiled. I've already sorted out and analyzed so much information for you. If you still lose money, then I can only suggest that you transfer to another faculty. Finance isn't suitable for you. Oh no, other faculties shouldn't be suitable either, because no matter what a retard studies, they won't be able to study. The students below the stage looked at each other and were stunned for a moment. This Lu Yu has a super poisonous tongue. She really doesn't hold back when she insults people. In a short conversation, Wang Haoran had a rough understanding of Lu Yu's personality. Seeing the reactions of most of the students, Lu Yu added, Don't worry, the profits are yours. The losses are mine. Hearing this, everyone's hearts calmed down. However, they were still very nervous, afraid that they would lose money. With this thought, most of them hurriedly took out the documents and looked at them. Of course, there were also people who directly put the documents aside and didn't even look at them. They were leisurely waiting for the M stock market to open. For example, the confident Lin Shin. Because of the time difference, the M stock market would only open at 9:30 p.m. There were still 20 minutes until 9:30 p.m. In these 20 minutes, Lin Shin didn't need to do anything. He just needed to wait quietly. There was another person who didn't look at the documents. It was Wang Haoran. He directly communicated with the system and went to the system store to shop happily. Chapter 217. Wang Haoran searched the system store for a while and soon found what he liked. 24-hour stock market prediction ability, worth 5,000 villain points. As the name suggested, with this skill, he could know the stock market fluctuations in the next 24 hours in advance. He could know when a stock would rise, how much it would rise, when it would fall, and by how much it would fall. Wang Haoran currently had a lot of villain points. He had more than 22,000. He immediately spent 5,000 villain points to exchange for the 24-hour stock market prediction ability. With just a thought, the stock market information in the next 24 hours would appear in his mind. With this skill, even the financial genius Liu Yu could not compare to him in terms of stock trading. After all, Liu Yu relied on her own professional analysis. Although her analytical ability was very strong, it could not be 100% accurate. Wang Haoran was different. He could get the results directly and guarantee a 100% winning rate. After exchanging for this skill, Wang Haoran looked at Lin Chen. Lin Chen also knew a stock trading skill. Although it was not as good as his prediction ability, it was not bad either. He should be on par with Liu Yu. This guy became stronger by pretending to be cool. If he made a lot of money in the stock market later, it would definitely shock the other students. When Lin Chen introduced himself, he was pretending to be cool. Wang Haoran could not stop him. However, he could still stop him from making money in the stock market. When reading the information, Liu Yu allowed the students to communicate with each other. Not far away, Mu Zhaozhao and Wen Jing were sitting together. At this moment, they were exchanging their opinions. Wang Haoran saw this and walked to Lin Chen's side. Lin Chen, little friend, let's exchange our opinions too. Lin Chen quickly said, Big brother, I don't have any opinions. I can't communicate with you. You should communicate with others. Ever since he met Wang Haoran, he had been acting cool. First, his magic performance failed. Then he could not go on stage. Then his super diving suit was stolen. Then his thesis was stolen. Lin Chen only wanted to hide whenever he saw Wang Haoran. How would he dare to say anything to Wang Haoran? Wang Haoran did not give up. He continued, We're all classmates. Let's interact more. Seeing this, Lin Chen raised his hand and said to Liu Yu, Professor Liu. When Liu Yu heard her brother calling for her, she naturally walked over immediately. Lin Chen immediately complained, Professor Liu, I don't want to exchange views with him, but he forced me. Liu Yu looked at Wang Haoran and said, Student Wang, Student Lin Chen doesn't want to exchange views with you. Why don't you look for other students? Due to the initial 20 favorability points brought by the charm, Liu Yu's attitude was still very friendly, and her tone was also very gentle. Wang Haoran could only say, Sorry to disturb you. I'll go find the other students now. With that, he walked towards Mu Zhaozhao and Wen Jing. Seeing this, Liu Yu also returned to the podium. Wang Haoran came to Mu Zhaozhao's side and said, Can you do me a small favor later? Mu Zhaozhao's big black eyes turned a few times and said, I can help you, but what do I get in return? You still want to get in return? Why? You want to get a free meal? Wang Haoran was helpless and could only say, Then what do you want in return? Mu Zhaozhao used her index finger to touch her cheek and looked at the ceiling as if she was thinking. After a few seconds, her eyes lit up and she immediately said, Treat me to supper tonight. Okay, tell me, what do you want me to do? Wang Haoran leaned close to Mu Zhaozhao and whispered something in her ear. After hearing this, Mu Zhaozhao's baby face was full of seriousness and said, Leave it to me. I promise to complete the task. After the discussion, Wang Haoran returned to his seat. However, before he left, he secretly grabbed Wen Jing's leg onto the table. Wen Jing was a woman of few words to begin with. She was afraid of causing trouble for Wang Haoran, so she rarely took the initiative to talk to Wang Haoran in front of others. Just as Wang Haoran and Mu Zhaozhao were talking, Wen Jing kept looking at Wang Haoran tenderly. She was almost turning into a rock. Wang Haoran saw it from the corner of his eyes and secretly interacted with her. Wen Jing's heart was as sweet as honey, and she was extremely satisfied. Mu Zhaozhao saw her smiling foolishly and looked at her curiously. Wen Jing gave a vague answer, saying that she had suddenly thought of a funny joke, which was why she had laughed. Hearing that, Mu Zhaozhao did not ask much, but looked at Wen Jing a few more times. Time passed quietly, and it was soon 9:30 at night. Lu Yu's voice reached everyone's ears. The time limit is 1 hour. Everyone can start working now. If you do not understand how to trade stocks, you can ask me about that. Do not ask about anything else. Hearing that voice, most of the students became nervous, and they immediately operated their computers to open the M-Shares stock market's real-time fluctuation interface, their eyes wide as they stared at it. Different from the Fire Country, the M-Shares market followed the trading principle of T plus 0. In layman's terms, stocks bought on the same day could be sold on the same day. With unlimited trading, there was much more room for manipulation. Wang Haoran's mind stirred, and the fluctuations of various stocks within the last 24 hours appeared in his mind. Every stock's rise and fall, and the extent of its rise and fall, he knew all about it. Wang Haoran immediately started working. It was now 21:32, and in the next 3 minutes, a stock called Sajiki Technology had the biggest increase, reaching a full 3%. He immediately bought all the stocks, and when the price stopped rising, he sold them all. 5,000 became 550. Wang Haoran then searched for the stocks that had the biggest fluctuations in the last few minutes, and he quickly set his sights on a stock called Gokul that had a 4% increase. 550 continued to show. A few minutes later, 550 became 536. Wang Haoran continued to repeat the same operation, and the numbers continued to rise. On the other side, Lin Shun was not idling, and he was operating the computer for a while. And at that moment, Mu Zhaozhao suddenly walked over. Her baby-like face was full of smiles. "Student Lin Shun, how are you?" Lin Shun had been focused on the stock market, and when he heard that sweet voice, he turned his head to look. A beautiful baby-like face immediately came into his field of vision. He was a transmigrator, and his actual age was already in his 20s. He was an otaku and liked to watch cartoons. Mu Zhaozhao's baby-like face and body were very much to Lin Shen's liking. Therefore, when Lin Shen saw Mu Zhaozhao greeting him so kindly, he could not help but be overjoyed. Lin Shen smiled and asked, "Beautiful sister, what's the matter?" Mu Zhaozhao said, "Aren't you a prodigy? So I wanted to ask you about buying stocks." Lin Shen was proud. "Beautiful sister, you've asked the right person." He pointed at a stock displayed on his computer screen. "Do you see that? This stock will reach its peak in 1 minute. I just have to sell it at the peak, and I'll be able to get the biggest profit." Mu Zhaozhao was pleasantly surprised. "Wow, that's amazing. Let me see how you operate it." Lin Shen smiled. "Watch carefully." 1 minute was almost up. Lin Shen was fully focused, and he immediately wanted to sell the stock, because the stock had reached its peak, and it was about to fall off a cliff. If he did not sell it now, he would lose a lot. However, before he could sell the shares, the computer screen suddenly went black. Lin Shen was dumbfounded. At the side, Mu Zhaozhao was surprised. "Oh, I'm sorry. I accidentally kicked your power cord." Chapter 218. At the crucial moment, the computer was turned off. When Lin Shen saw the black screen, he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. He immediately bent down and plugged in the power cord that was kicked off. Then, he quickly pressed the power button on the computer. While waiting for the computer to turn on, Lin Shen couldn't help but look at Mu Zhaozhao. Mu Zhaozhao's cute baby face tensed up and said weakly, "Lin Shen classmate, I didn't do it on purpose. You won't blame me, right?" "No, it's okay. You were just careless." Lin Shen was a little angry at first, but facing such a cute girl, of course, he couldn't bear to blame her. After about 40 seconds, the computer finally turned on. Lin Shen quickly double-clicked the security software and quickly logged into his account to check the fluctuation of the stock he sold. When he saw that the fluctuation was falling like a cliff, Lin Shen was very depressed. But he still quickly chose to sell all the stocks in his hands. But waiting for the stock to sell takes time. Now that the stock suddenly fell like a cliff, no one would be stupid enough to buy it. Lin Shen looked at the computer screen and was very disappointed. All he could do now was wait. Ding! The host manipulated behind the scenes and destroyed the main character Lin Shen's chance to show off. Received 600 villain points. Lin Shen's main character Aura -30. Host villain Aura +30 receiving the system notification. Wang Haoren secretly smiled. But his hands didn't stop operating the computer. In a short 20 minutes, 5,000 became 5890. This data didn't seem like a lot of money. But in terms of profit, it was very explosive. In 20 minutes, it reached a profit of 17.8%. Wang Haoren steadily continued to trade. Time quietly passed, and it was 10:25 at night. At this moment, Lu Yu on the podium reminded, "There's still 5 minutes left before the practical class ends." In these 55 minutes, Lu Yu also used her own account to trade stocks. Her initial funds in her account were 50 million gold. After 55 minutes of trading, 50 million became 58.25 million. The yield reached 16.5%. This 8.25 million was M dollars. If converted to domestic currency, it would be 53.2 million. In just 55 minutes, he had earned 53.2 million. In the last 5 minutes, Lu Yu didn't use her account. Instead, she walked down from the podium and walked through the aisles in the computer room, looking at the results of the students. However, the hour wasn't over yet. She only took a look and didn't comment on anything. However, when he passed by Wang Haoren and saw the image on his computer screen, he was shocked and stopped in his tracks. Wang Haoren's account had changed from the initial 5,000 yuan to 8,270 yuan. The return rate had reached 65%. In just over 50 minutes, they had actually reached such a terrifying rate of return. Although Lu Yu was only 22 years old, she had been in the stock market for 12 years. In her financial career, the highest yield in an hour or so was 88.6%. Among the students she taught in the practical class, the highest score was only 32.2%. That was the most talented one among her students. Wang Haoren's rate of return, however, was more than double. Lu Yu nodded approvingly. "Not bad, not bad. What's your name?" Wang Haoren tilted his head and looked at her. Like an obedient student, he replied, "Professor Lu, my name is Wang Haoren." Lu Yu nodded and deeply remembered this name. As the time was almost up, Wang Haoren replied and quickly operated his account again. He was ready to buy a stock with all his funds. However, just as he was about to press the button to confirm the purchase, Lu Yu suddenly said, "This energy car stock has risen too much. It has reached its highest point. If you buy it with all your funds, you might suffer a huge loss." Wang Haoren didn't press the button to confirm the purchase immediately. He replied, "Professor Lu, I think this check still has room to rise. I want to buy it." Lu Yu became serious. "I have observed this stock. I can tell you with certainty that this stock is a bubble stock. It might collapse at any time, and you will lose all your money." Wang Haoren insisted, "Professor Lu, I can also see that this stock is a bubble stock. However, I think it is still a bit away from collapsing. If you buy it now and sell it at the right time, you will definitely make a huge profit." Lu Yu frowned. "Do you think that your professional ability is better than mine? I have already told you that you cannot buy this stock. Why are you still so stubborn?" Wang Haoren's attitude didn't change. "I really think I can buy it." When Lu Yu heard that, her frown deepened. She said a little angrily, "You may have some talent in finance, but you are too stubborn. You are unwilling to listen to other people's opinions. If you walk the unconventional path, even if you make a lot of money in the future, you might lose everything overnight. This is a big taboo in our industry." Wang Haoren didn't respond to Lu Yu's doubts. This was because he saw the prediction data in his mind. He realized that he couldn't continue wasting time. Hence, he pressed the button to confirm the purchase. He bought all his funds at 8270. When Lu Yu saw Wang Haoren's actions, her pretty face turned green. "You really can't be carved out of rotten wood." She turned around and walked away angrily. This was because the more she looked at Wang Haoren, the angrier she became. Compared to talent, Lu Yu actually preferred obedient students. This was because only obedient students could listen to her teachings and learn her skills. Lu Yu asked herself, among the students that she had taught, even 20% of her teachings would be enough to make a name for themselves in the stock market. Ding! The female lead Lu Yu's favorability towards the host has decreased by 20. Current favorability is 0, like a stranger. When he heard the system notification, Wang Haoran was stunned. He didn't know how many times he had received the notification that the female lead's favorability had increased. This seemed to be the first time that the female lead's favorability had decreased. Lu Yu angrily returned to the podium and said to the students in an extremely serious tone, "Time's up. Take your hands off the keyboard and mouse. Everyone stop operating." Because of Lu Yu's display of power, she had established enough prestige in the hearts of the students. When the students heard this, they all followed Lu Yu's instructions. This included Wang Haoran. This stock would continue to rise in the next 20 minutes. There was no need to sell it immediately. Chapter 219. Lu Yu's computer was the main computer in the computer room. She could access the images from the students' computers by operating on the main computer. She turned on the multimedia and projected the images from the main computer onto the multimedia projector. The students also raised their heads and looked at the white screen in front of the classroom. The projector projected the images. It started with the first computer. The student sitting on the first computer was Lu Hua. Lu Hua's initial funds of 5,000 yuan had become about 4,500 yuan. The loss rate was about 10%. Lu Yu glanced at it and spat out a cold and sharp word from her red lips. One with cerebral palsy. Identification complete. Lu Hua's face darkened. He was so ashamed that he wanted to crawl into a hole. The rest of the students did not laugh. Because it was their first time operating it, they were flustered. Most of them were not in a good situation. The atmosphere in the computer room became very tense. After Lu Hua, it was the other students. Lu Yu projected the results of the students one by one on the white screen through the projector. There were many students who were not as bad as Lu Hua, but their loss rates were between -1% and -3%. Lu Yu's expression became more and more unpleasant. Soon, it was Mu Zhaozhao's turn. Mu Zhaozhao's data was not bad. Her profit rate was 6%, which was just good. Next was Wenjing's. Wenjing's data was better, reaching 1%. Lu Yu's expression became much better. She praised her name and continued to check the other students. After Mu Zhaozhao and Wenjing, there was no one with a negative profit rate. However, there was also no one with a profit rate of more than 6%. Lu Yu was slightly disappointed. It was only when she was ready to look at Lin Chen's data that she perked up. She knew her brother quite well. 2 months ago, Lin Chen used 1 million yuan to earn 300 million yuan. In her opinion, Lin Chen's data was definitely the best. The only question was how good it was. With a strong sense of anticipation, Lin Chen's data was quickly displayed. His profit rate was -26%. Lu Hua's -5% was already very bad. Lu Yu recalled the previous practical classes. The worst was only 3%. Lin Chen's -26% profit rate was considered the worst record for a practical class. When Lu Yu saw the data, she was very disappointed. She immediately criticized. Compared to cerebral palsy, being overly arrogant and overconfident is even more undesirable. I hope student Lin Chen will remember this lesson. Upon hearing these words, the surrounding students could not help but sigh as they sized up Lin Chen. That's it. Was this the standard of the legendary prodigy? Glancing at the surrounding gazes, Lin Chen felt extremely sullen, because Mu Zhaozhao's kick had directly kicked his stocks off the cliff. After that, Lin Chen put the shares up for sale. He only sold them when the 1-hour practical class was about to end. After such a huge loss, coupled with the lack of time to operate, this resulted in such poor data. Lin Chen wanted to defend himself, but when he saw Mu Zhaozhao looking at him from afar, he immediately swallowed his words. How could he bear to blame such a beautiful sister? With this thought in mind, Lin Chen remained silent and assumed that he had made a mistake. After Lin Chen, another 10 or so students passed. Not long after, it was Wang Haoran's turn. However, Lu Yu did not immediately project Wang Haoran's data on the white screen. Instead, she first said, "It's good to have confidence in yourself, but you must also know your own limitations. You must know how to listen to other people's opinions and never be blindly arrogant. You must always maintain a humble learning heart." I hope everyone will remember this. Although she did not mention anyone by name in her speech. However, When it was Wang Howren's turn to look at his data, she specifically said it. After the other students heard this, they all looked at Wang Howren. Obviously, Professor Liu Yu was referring to Wang Howren. After saying those words, Liu Yu waited for the students to comprehend before projecting Wang Howren's practical class results on the white screen. At the same time, Liu Yu also glanced at the synchronized image displayed on her computer. In the next moment, she was completely stunned. Because of Liu Yu's sudden call to stop, Wang Howren did not continue to operate. The stock that he had just bought had not been sold yet. However, until now, the stock was still showing signs of rising. Wang Howren had previously bought all of 8,270. In this short period of time, 8,270 had become 9,866. Moreover, as the seconds passed, the value of 9,866 was still rising. Wow! After the students saw Wang Howren's practical class results, they were all stunned and let out an uproar. Among them, Lin Chun was included. In just a little over an hour, 5,000 had become 9,866. Lin Chun asked himself, even if he had a master-level stock trading skill, he would not be able to achieve this. This Wang Howren, how did he do it? Was it luck? Or could it be that this guy was also a cheat? This doubt appeared in Lin Chun's mind. This was because ever since he met Wang Howren, he had displayed magic that even his master level could not see through. He had also displayed piano skills that surpassed Sister Seven's level. And now, he had revealed his superb stock trading skills. To be able to have such outstanding achievements in 3 aspects, this was definitely an ordinary person. On the podium, Liu Yu was so shocked that she could not speak for a long time. Ding! The female lead Liu Yu's favorability towards the host has returned to 20, very friendly. When Wang Howren received the system notification, he could not help but tease Liu Yu. Professor Liu, I was right? This stock will continue to rise. Liu Yu snorted and said indifferently, my luck is not bad. You hit the jackpot. However, if you want to stay in this industry for a long time, relying on luck is useless, because a person's luck will not always be good. Wang Howren said seriously, this is not luck, it is ability. Liu Yu curled her lips slightly. Based on your current results, you are the best in class. In fact, you are the best in my practical class. However, I don't think you are that outstanding. This is because you are too blindly confident. Moreover, there is a big problem with your trading operation. If you chase after the stock and buy it all, if you are lucky, you'll make a profit. If you are unlucky, you will definitely lose everything. Wang Howren insisted, Professor Liu, I really don't know how to do this. After replying to Liu Yu's words, Wang Howren operated the computer for a while and sold all the stocks. The stocks were instantly put up, and 10230 was quickly transferred to his account. When Liu Yu saw Wang Howren's operation on the main computer screen, she frowned and said sternly, I already said that the time limit is up. I've already said that no trading is allowed when the time is up. Did you not take my words seriously? Wang Howren said disapprovingly, this stock will fall very quickly. If I don't sell it now, I will really lose everything. Liu Yu sneered and retorted, it will rise and fall as you wish. Do you think you are the god of stocks? Chapter 220. Liu Yu stared coldly at the disobedient student below the podium. The atmosphere in the classroom also became tense. The other students were as quiet as cicadas in winter, not daring to make sound. After this strange atmosphere lasted for about 30 seconds, exclamations came from the computer room. It really fell. F***, how is this falling? This is jumping off a cliff. Hearing the commotion, Liu Yu stopped glaring at Wang Howren and looked at the screen of the main computer. The screen showed the image of Wang Howren's computer. The stock that Wang Howren bought before really fell, and it fell extremely quickly. In the next few minutes, it directly fell to the ground. The stock bubble that had been piled up finally collapsed. Liu Yu raised her head slightly, looked at Wang Howren again, and asked in disbelief, how did you know that this bubble stock would fall immediately? With her professional ability, she could also predict that the stock would plummet. However, she couldn't accurately predict when the stock would plummet like Wang Howren. The rest of the students also looked at Wang Howren, waiting for his answer. I guessed. Wang Haoren was too lazy to talk so much, so he just fooled them. Lu Yu did not believe him. That's impossible. You definitely couldn't have guessed. Tell me how you knew. As she said that, she directly threw out a sugar-coated bullet. As long as you tell me that you can freely participate in my classes in the future, I'll allow you to be late and leave early. Hearing this, Wang Haoren's interest was piqued. He immediately said slowly, ever since the energy cars were released, the M side has given a huge subsidy. However, the companies that received these subsidies did not develop anything, which contributed to the bubble. It was only a matter of time before the subsidies were reduced. Lu Yu nodded. I can see that too. But how did you accurately predict when the M side would reduce the subsidies for the energy cars? So far, there hasn't been any specific information. You can't tell me that you know the head of the M side, right? How can you know in advance when the M side will take action? Wang Haoren smiled and continued. I don't need to know them. I just saw that a huge oil field recently appeared in the area rich in oil. And because of the location of the oil field, it's hard to determine who owns it. With the nature of the M side, they will definitely interfere. Since they're going to interfere, of course, they need to mobilize their forces. The expenditure of military expenses will increase greatly. According to the financial income and expenditure announced by America, they can't afford it at the moment. They can only use other expenses to make up for it. Isn't it the best way to reduce the huge subsidy for the bubble cars? With that said, Wang Haoren clicked on the stock fluctuation chart on the computer and said, and after confirming that they will have such movements in the near future, it's very simple. After the decision is made, the investors will definitely get some insider information. In order to reduce their losses, the investors will definitely choose to cut a wave of leaks to reduce their losses. When a market just opened, the investors pushed the stock price up. When the stock price soared, it attracted countless envious leaks to enter the market. This bubble also became bigger and bigger, and it fell into the final madness. At this time, it's easy to determine the point of collapse. When the investors want to withdraw, they will definitely sell a large number of shares. At this time, all they have to do is to sell all the shares. The 24-hour stock market prediction ability could not only predict the fluctuations of the stock market, but also see what caused the fluctuations. Therefore, it was too easy for Wang Haoren to answer these questions. Hearing Wang Haoren's orderly analysis, Lu Yu was directly convinced. She was so shocked that she couldn't speak. She had also seen the news that Wang Haoren mentioned recently, but she didn't analyze the feedback information about the energy vehicle stock from these news. Clap. After Lu Yu recovered from her shock, she couldn't help but applaud. Ding! The female lead Lu Yu's favorability towards the host has increased by 10. Current favorability is 30, very friendly. Ding! The host has influenced the direction of the plot. Received 500 villain points. Most of the students below the stage were ashamed and in awe. They also immediately applauded. They were all freshmen, but the gap between them was really huge. Hearing the applause around him, Lin Chun felt very uncomfortable. He should have been the one to show off, but now Wang Haoren stole the limelight. No, to be precise, Wang Haoren stole the limelight again. Ever since he had transmigrated, everything had been going smoothly, and he had always been very smooth. However, ever since he met Wang Haoren, all kinds of things were not going well. He was the main character? Why was it like this? Could it be that he wasn't the main character? Wang Haoren was the main character? A very frightening thought appeared in Lin Chen's mind. While Lin Chen's imagination was running wild, Lu Yu, who was on the stage, concluded the lesson. This practical class ends here. Students with negative profits will be responsible for all the cleaning and chores in the class from now on. Students who have 1% to 6% profit will stand in class from now on. In addition, I would like to praise Mu Zhaozhao and Wen Jing. Both of you are very good. After saying this, Lu Yu looked at Wang Haoren and praised him. Wang Haoren's profit rate has reached 104.6%, which is the highest since I started the practical class. At the same time, it has also surpassed my highest profit rate in an hour. I would like to give you special praise. In the future, Wang Haoren can enjoy various privileges, such as being late and leaving early in my class. However, Lu Yu changed the topic and said, however, Wang Haoran, you can't be arrogant and complacent. A temporary profit doesn't mean that you can continue to be in this class for a long time. You're still far from being a real peak trader. Hearing this, Wang Haoran couldn't help but ask, Professor Liu, how can I be considered a peak trader? Liu Yu paused and immediately answered, you have more than 10,000 yuan in your account now. As long as you can turn this 10,000 yuan into 1 million yuan in a month, you will be considered a peak trader. After saying this, she added, of course, I know this is very difficult for you. Even when I first started out, it took me half a month to turn 10,000 yuan into 1 million yuan. Liu Yu's meaning was that if one had half of her ability, he would be considered a peak trader. Wang Haoran understood the deeper meaning in her words. Hence, he directly said, Professor Liu, it's just 100-fold. I don't need a month. Half a month is enough. If you can't do it, not only will I take back the privileges I just gave you, but I will also make you stand in class in the future. Liu Yu threatened him. Then, she looked at Wang Haoran and asked, answer me now. Now, answer me again. Is it a month or half a month? Wang Haoran said, I thought about it and suddenly changed my mind. Liu Yu thought that she had succeeded. She said, that's right. Young people shouldn't be so arrogant. Just as Liu Yu revealed a proud smile, Wang Haoran spoke again and completed his previous words. I only need a week. Liu Yu is also a very proud person. She used half a month to turn 10,000 yuan into 1 million yuan, but Wang Haoran said that he only needed a month. Didn't this mean that two of her were the same as Wang Haoran? Liu Yu's beautiful eyes narrowed. Are you serious? Wang Haoran smiled and nodded. More serious than real gold. Liu Yu snorted and retorted, if you can do it, then I don't need to be your teacher. I'll just call you teacher. Wang Haoran felt that it was a good idea. He nodded and said, if you're willing, that's fine. Liu Yu treated it as a joke and said coldly, class dismissed. Chapter 2:21. After class, the students left one after another. However, Mu Zhaozhao ran straight to Wang Haoran and held his hand as they walked out. She said, midnight snack, midnight snack. I want to eat midnight snack. Wang Haoran said, don't worry, I won't forget about you. This was what he had promised Mu Zhaozhao, so of course he had to fulfill it. However, he did not know where to go at the moment, so he asked Mu Zhaozhao, I just came here yesterday, so I'm not very familiar with this place. You could tell me where to eat. Mu Zhaozhao said, yesterday Sister Yunhan and I went to a midnight snack street near the school. There's a very delicious restaurant there. Come with me. Wang Haoran nodded. He turned his head and saw Wen Jing looking timidly at them from afar. So he said, classmate Wen Jing, do you want to go for midnight snack together? Hearing that, Wen Jing hurried over. Is it convenient? Wang Haoran said, why would it be inconvenient? Let's go together. Mu Zhaozhao pursed her lips bitterly, but she still said, yeah, Wen Jing, let's go together. Okay. Wen Jing nodded happily. The three of them went out of the school together. Not long after, they arrived at the midnight snack restaurant that Mu Zhaozhao had mentioned. The midnight snack restaurant was not big, but the tables and chairs were clean. The owner, his wife, and his daughter all wore masks and sanitary gloves while working. It looked quite hygienic. Moreover, the business in the restaurant was very good. The owner's family of three was a little busy. Wang Haoran, Mu Zhaozhao, and Wen Jing sat down at a table. There were menus and sticky notes on the table. As the owner's family was very busy, they could only let the customers write down what they wanted to order. Then, the owner would come over to collect the sticky notes and serve the food. Wang Haoran took out a pen and paper to take notes, then let Wen Jing and Mu Zhaozhao order. Mu Zhaozhao ordered more than 20 types of barbecue in one go. There were at least 5 servings of each type, and one of them was as many as 10 servings. Wang Haoran asked curiously, why did you order 10 servings of chives? Mu Zhaozhao revealed a strange smile. I ordered it for you. Wang Haoran was stunned. Chives had the effect of strengthening the yang energy. What did Mu Zhaozhao mean by this? However, before Wang Haoran could speak, Wen Jing couldn't help but interject, his body is very healthy. He doesn't need any supplements. Hearing this, Mu Zhaozhao looked at Wen Jing strangely. Wen Jing blushed a little when Mu Zhaozhao looked at her. She quickly explained, Wang Howard and I are in the same class. We went to the same physical education class. Sports is his strength. Naturally, his body will be better if he is good at sports. Mu Zhaozhao said, oh, to show that she understood. However, she looked at Wen Jing a few more times and revealed a meaningful smile. Wang Howard noticed Mu Zhaozhao's expression and suddenly became worried. He was afraid that Mu Zhaozhao would make trouble and spread the news. Wang Howard smiled at Mu Zhaozhao and said, what else do you want to eat? Order whatever you want. Mu Zhaozhao replied with a smile. That's all for now. If it's not enough, I'll order more later. Wang Howard nodded and called the shop owner to take away the sticky note. After waiting for a while, part of the barbecue was served. Wen Jing felt that she had done something wrong, so she was a little absent-minded. She lowered her head and bit the barbecue meat with her mouth. Mu Zhaozhao was very carefree. She rolled up her sleeves and grabbed a squid skewer with one hand. She ate it, and the corner of her mouth was covered in oil. Then, she suddenly leaned her baby face in front of Wang Howard. Come, lend me your hand. Wang Howard took a piece of paper from the meal box on the table and reached out to help Mu Zhaozhao wipe the oil off the corner of her mouth. Ding! The host has touched the heart of the female lead Mu Zhaozhao. Obtained 200 villain points. Wang Howard was stunned. He couldn't help but look at Mu Zhaozhao. But Mu Zhaozhao's face didn't have any reaction. She was still happily eating the barbecue. But the system's notification shouldn't be wrong. After all, he had received the reward. After a while, Mu Zhaozhao's mouth was covered in oil again. She immediately looked at Wang Howard. Wang Howard immediately understood. So, he took another piece of paper to help her wipe the oil off her mouth. He even pretended to accidentally touch her face. Ding! The host has touched the heart of the female lead Mu Zhaozhao. Obtained 300 villain points. Mu Zhaozhao hit it very well. She didn't have any reaction on the surface. Wang Howard was surprised. Then, he became a little bolder and reached out to grab a handful of skewers on the table. Mu Zhaozhao's hand shook, and the squid skewers fell on the table. What's wrong? Wen Jing asked curiously. Nothing. Mu Zhaozhao replied to Wen Jing with a smile. Then, she met Wang Howard's gaze. She quickly looked away shyly and continued eating the barbecue. Ding! The host has touched the heart of the female lead Mu Zhaozhao. Obtained 400 villain points. Mu Zhaozhao's villain points were too easy to obtain. Wang Howard was very surprised. After Lu Yu's class, she returned to a villa near the university. She had been teaching at Qingling University for 2 to 3 years. In order to live more comfortably, she bought this villa nearby. However, other than her, there were 2 other people in the villa. One was Qiu Qianwei, and the other was Ji Shuiyao. They were sisters in different fields. In fact, they didn't spend much time together in the past. Now that she was finally teaching in a university, Lu Yu naturally called her 2 sisters over to live with her. Lu Yu opened the door with her fingerprint and walked into the villa. Her 6th sister, Ji Shuiyao, was reading in the living room. The sound of cooking came from the kitchen. Lu Yu glanced in the direction of the kitchen and asked her 6th sister in surprise, You invited the cook over so quickly? Ji Shuiyao looked away from her book and said to Lu Yu, 7th sister is busy. Lu Yu turned pale with fright and said, Is 7th sister crazy? Her hands are used to play the piano. How can they be used to cook? What if she accidentally hurts her hands? Then, she was about to rush into the kitchen. Ji Shuiyao said, 5th sister, I tried to persuade her just now, but it's useless. Lu Yu stopped in her tracks and asked in surprise, What's wrong with 7th sister? Ji Shuiyao knew, but she didn't say anything. She only said, You'll have to ask her. After waiting for a few minutes, Qiu Qianwei finally came out of the kitchen. She came to the living room and said excitedly, 5th sister, 6th sister, it's so late. You must be hungry. Come and try my cooking. Ji Shuiyao and Lu Yu looked at each other strangely and followed Qiu Qianwei to the dining room. Qiu Qianwei brought 3 servings of fried noodles over. From the looks of it, the fried noodles were not bad. Ji Shuiyao and Lu Yu both tried it, but their faces soon scrunched up. Qiu Qinwei saw this and hurriedly asked, "Is it bad?" "It's okay. It's okay," Ji Shuiyao and Lu Yu said separately. Qiu Qinwei took a pair of chopsticks and also tried a mouthful. She quickly spat it out and smiled awkwardly. "I put too much salt. I'll be careful tomorrow," Lu Yu said seriously. "Seventh sister, don't mess around. It'll be too late for regrets if you hurt your hands." Qiu Qinwei smiled carelessly. "My hands are insured for hundreds of millions. If something really happens, I'll get a few billion in compensation. I won't starve to death anyway." Lu Yu was surprised. "Seventh sister, we haven't seen each other for 3 months. Why do I feel like you've changed?" Qiu Qinwei was stunned. Then, she smiled embarrassedly. "I just want to learn how to cook. I want to cook for him for you." Lu Yu immediately sensed that something was wrong. She remembered Seventh Sister's acceptance speech that was widely spread on the internet. "Seventh Sister, you really have a boyfriend?" Qiu Qinwei was a little shy, but she still nodded. "Yes, yes." Lu Yu was stunned for a while. Then, she hurriedly asked, "Who's that guy?" Chapter 222. Facing Lu Yu's question, Qiu Qinwei said shyly, "Fifth sister, I'll tell you when there's a chance in the future." Lu Yu didn't agree. "Now is your chance. Tell me quickly and let me help you." Hearing Lu Yu's words, Qiu Qinwei shook her head fiercely. She didn't change her mind. From her point of view, she was a professor at Qingling University and Wang Haoren was a student. She was afraid that it would cause trouble for Wang Haoren if word got out. After all, it was a little sensitive with their identities. Qiu Qinwei lied. "Let's not talk about it first. Our relationship isn't that stable yet. I'll tell you when it's stable." Lu Yu was a little depressed. "Seventh sister, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with telling me about your boyfriend? Am I going to steal your boyfriend?" Qiu Qinwei quickly said, "Fifth sister, that's not what I meant. Hurry. I'm just concerned about you. I want to help you think about what kind of person your boyfriend is. Tell me quickly." Lu Yu urged. Qiu Qinwei didn't want to say Wang Haoren, but she didn't want to hurt their relationship. She was in a dilemma. At this moment, Ji Shuiyao suddenly said, "Fifth sister, the person seventh sister likes is quite good. Don't worry about it." Lu Yu was surprised. "You know who seventh sister's boyfriend is?" Qiu Qinwei also looked over. Ji Shuiyao panicked. She came to Qingling University to teach because she was a little selfish. Because of her guilty conscience, she didn't dare to say that she knew Wang Haoren. Suppressing the panic in her heart, Ji Shuiyao calmly explained, "How would I know? However, I believe in seventh sister's judgment. Since she has set her eyes on him, he must be very outstanding. Otherwise, why would seventh sister take a fancy to him? Let's not ask too much. Seventh sister will tell you when she wants to." Qiu Qinwei saw that Lu Yu helped her out and said happily, "Sixth sister knows me best." Seeing this, Lu Yu was too embarrassed to ask who seventh sister's boyfriend was. However, out of curiosity, she couldn't help but ask another question. "Seventh sister, how far have you guys progressed?" "We're just holding hands for now." Qiu Qinwei was too shy to tell the truth. However, after saying this, she had some doubts. Fourth elder sister Bufian was aware of the situation. He wondered if she would blabber and spread the news to the other sisters. Hearing Qiu Qinwei's reply, Lu Yu replied with an "oh" and did not think too much about it. After all, seventh sister was so outstanding and beautiful. She had just started dating, and it was already very fast for them to progress to the stage of holding hands. As for Ji Shuiyao, she looked at her seventh sister, Qiu Qinwei, strangely. She couldn't help but feel happy. Seventh sister had only held hands with him, but that day, when she was on vacation with him, they had, compared to seventh sister, she was much closer to him. "Sai, what am I thinking?" After a brief moment of joy, Ji Shuiyao shook her head and immediately got rid of these strange thoughts. Although she came to Qingling to teach, she didn't want to ruin seventh sister's relationship. With this thought in mind, Ji Shuiyao picked up a book to read. However, she realized that she couldn't calm down. She wanted to close her eyes to calm down, but she realized that her mind was filled with the figure of a certain someone. Her mind also recalled the scene when she helped Wang Haoren perform first aid. As she thought about it, Ji Shuiyao even inadvertently pursed her lips, as if she was reminiscing. Ji Shueiyao felt that she was going crazy. She finally realized that the more she tried not to think about it, the more she couldn't control herself. Since that was the case, she might as well let nature take its course. With this thought in mind, Ji Shueiyao started to compose a message and sent it to Wang Haoren. The content of the message was to ask Wang Haoren about some of the scientific questions that had been bothering him. I just want to ask him about scientific questions. I'm not talking about personal matters. I'm definitely not doing anything wrong, seventh sister. After sending the message and waiting for Wang Haoren's reply, Ji Shueiyao wanted to lessen her guilt, so she secretly comforted herself in her heart. After waiting for about 5 minutes, Ji Shueiyao finally received Wang Haoren's reply. After reading it, Ji Shueiyao's questions that had been bothering her were answered. Suddenly, she felt enlightened. Why did you become a professor at Qingling's marine biology department? Soon, Wang Haoren sent another message. When she saw this message, Ji Shueiyao suddenly felt a little nervous. However, she suppressed her guilt and replied, "Teaching is very meaningful. I wanted to be a teacher for a long time, but there were too many things to do at the research institute in the past, so I couldn't get away. However, now that the research institute has recruited some new people, I don't have that many things to do, so I came here to be a teacher." After replying, Ji Shueiyao felt a little regretful, so she couldn't help but ask, "Why didn't you choose the marine biology department?" Wang Haoren, "What's the point of choosing the marine biology department? What did I learn there?" Ji Shueiyao, "That's true." While Ji Shueiyao was chatting, Qiu Qianwei cleaned up the fried noodles on the dining table and came to the sofa in the living room. She sat down beside Ji Shueiyao and asked casually, "Sixth sister, who are you chatting with?" Ji Shueiyao was so shocked that her phone fell to the ground. She quickly picked up the phone and replied, "I'm talking about a female researcher, with a female researcher in the same field." Qiu Qianwei was puzzled by her strange behavior. "Sixth sister, why did you deliberately emphasize that it's a female? Don't tell me. Don't tell me you have a boyfriend too? Let me see." She moved her head closer to Ji Shueiyao's phone screen. Ji Shueiyao hurriedly hugged the phone tightly to her chest, protecting it. Qiu Qianwei was even more curious. She said excitedly, "Fifth sister, sixth sister seems to have a boyfriend too." "Oh, really?" Lu Yu came to the living room with her laptop. Ji Shueiyao quickly explained, "No, don't listen to seventh sister's nonsense." Her face turned red as she spoke. Qiu Qianwei and Lu Yu looked at her and felt that there must be a story behind it. However, Ji Shueiyao insisted that she wasn't in a relationship. Qiu Qianwei didn't pursue the matter. Lu Yu shook her head and commented, "Seventh sister, sixth sister, what's so good about men? I really don't understand you." Qiu Qianwei didn't take it seriously. She took out her phone with a smile and started typing a message. Ji Shueiyao glanced at her phone and saw that seventh sister's chat was with Wang Haoren. She felt guilty and buried her head in her book. Lu Yu opened her laptop and logged into Weibo to type. She was a Weibo influencer with 50 million followers. Chapter 223. She had 50 million fans. This was one of a kind in the stock market. She had more fans than most of the top celebrities. As long as the market was open, Lu Yu would habitually write an article to analyze the market the night before. Due to her high professional standards, many of her fans bought stocks based on her analysis. Most of them made money. Every time Lu Yu posted on Weibo, one could find the password to her wealth. This was also the reason why Lu Yu had so many fans. After all, who didn't like to make money? At this time, Wang Haoren, Mu Zhaozhao, and Wen Jing had finished their supper and returned to their respective dormitories. Wang Haoren turned on his phone and immediately saw Qiu Qianwei's message. Hence, he began to reply. The two of them chatted on WeChat. However, it was mostly Qiu Qianwei asking questions. "Are you used to living in the dormitory? Are you getting along well with your roommates? What did you eat for dinner? What if I can't sleep without you by my side?" And so on and so forth. After chatting for a while, it was a little late. Wang Haoren asked Qiu Qianwei to go and rest. Naturally, Qiu Qianwei obediently went to sleep for her beauty sleep. After he was free, Wang Haoren also used his phone to open the search engine. He wanted to find out more about Lu Yu's rise to fame and learn more about her. Not long after, Wang Haoren had a rough idea. Simply put, Lu Yu's current life could be summed up in one sentence. It was as if she had a cheat code. In addition to some simple information about Lu Yu's life, Wang Haoren also found out that Lu Yu had a Weibo account. Her Weibo account was verified as a stock market VIP. Moreover, her terrifying number of fans shocked Wang Haoren for a while. With this thought in mind, Wang Haoren immediately checked Lu Yu's history on Weibo. Immediately, he understood why Lu Yu had so many fans. However, Lu Yu's analysis was not always correct. However, out of 10 Weibo posts, 7 to 8 of them were accurate. This could be considered quite amazing. Of course, in Wang Haoren's eyes, it was just so. After all, Lu Yu couldn't achieve 100% accuracy like him. Thinking of this, Wang Haoren also registered a Weibo account and used a crazy ID, Peerless Stock God. After registering his account, he immediately followed Lu Yu. At the same time, Lu Yu posted a new Weibo post. The content of the Weibo post was a prediction of the market situation in the Fire Country the next day. Wang Haoren immediately clicked on Lu Yu's analysis and compared it with the stock market information that he had foreseen. Unfortunately, Lu Yu's analysis was wrong and quite wrong. The stock that she thought would rise would plummet tomorrow. With that thought in mind, Wang Haoren also wrote a comment. The market will definitely fall tomorrow. Wang Haoren acted quickly. After this comment was posted, it immediately occupied the first sofa in the comment section. Just a few seconds after Wang Haoren posted this comment, Lu Yu actually replied to it herself. Nice ID, keyboard warrior. Lu Yu had a sharp tongue to begin with. She was never merciful with her words. She would always reply immediately to bad comments. When she saw comments that she was unhappy with, she would often scold netizens on Weibo. When Wang Haoren saw this comment, he was instantly displeased. He immediately replied, "You don't believe me? Then open your eyes wide tomorrow. You're a verified stock trader? Uft, Lu Yu, you're a yes man in real life, but you're a heavy puncher on the internet. Get lost." Wang Haoren, how do I get lost? Why don't you show me? Lu Yu, bend your legs, put your hands on your head, and roll into a ball. Wang Haoren, sure, I'll spread a bedsheet on the floor. Do you want to roll with me? Lu Yu, hooligan, why don't you look in a mirror and see how ugly you are? Roll with your inflatable girlfriend in bed. Wang Haoren, I'm very handsome. I've charmed thousands of girls. I have many girlfriends, and each one is prettier than the last. Lu Yu, if you count one finger as a girlfriend, that's quite a lot, keyboard warrior. Wang Haoren, forget it. I'm not going to talk to you anymore. Lu Yu, are you going to roll with your inflatable girlfriend? Hurry up and go, but you're so stingy. Wang Haoren rubbed his temples. He couldn't be bothered to argue with Lu Yu anymore. When it came to scolding people, women were naturally talented. They really couldn't compare. After cursing Lu Yu in his heart, Wang Haoren ignored Lu Yu after that. Wang Haoren and Lu Yu's long string of insults was also pinned to the top by other netizens. Early the next morning, Wang Haoren opened Weibo and saw that there were 50,000 private messages. He curiously clicked on a few to take a look. You actually used the ID, the Peerless Stock God. How shameless can you be? How dare you question the genius Stock God? If she says it'll go up, it'll definitely go up. Let's make a bet. I guess it'll go up, and you guess it'll go down. Whoever loses will eat a catty live stream. So, do you want to bet? What do you do in real life? Do you know how to trade stocks? How dare you go against the stock god? Keyboard warrior, tell me your address if you have the guts. I'll talk to you about life. After reading some of the private messages, Wang Haoren immediately understood that his Weibo account had been exposed. The reason was naturally because of his and Lu Yu's insults. Lu Yu's fans were indignant, so they helped Lu Yu expose him. Wang Haoren naturally wouldn't argue with these people. He only ate breakfast and went to class with his roommates, waiting for the stock market to open at 9:30 a.m. In the office, some university teachers were chatting around Lu Yu. This kind of scene could be considered a common occurrence. As long as it was the day of the stock market and Lu Yu was free, some of her colleagues would come over to ask about the stock market. As time went by, Many of them made a fortune. Some of them even made a fortune and directly achieved financial freedom. They quit their teaching jobs and went to travel around the world to enjoy life. In everyone's eyes, Lu Yu was like a god of wealth. It was almost time for the stock market to open, and Lu Yu didn't have class. The rest of the teachers who were free for the time being naturally gathered around. Professor Liu, the stock market will open in 10 minutes. What good stocks do you have? Recommend them quickly, a university teacher asked. Lu Yu replied as she operated her computer. When I heard your question, I knew that you didn't look at my Weibo. I analyzed today's market trend last night. You'll know when you take a look. Hearing this, Lu Yu's colleagues all took out their phones and hurriedly looked at Lu Yu's Weibo. Professor Liu, Yaoqi wine, right? Is this stable? Someone wanted to confirm, so he asked again. Lu Yu replied with certainty. The wine industry has been soaring in recent years. It's famous for being a blue-chip stock. Don't worry, everyone. I predict that it will continue to rise within a month. It's definitely stable. All right then, I'll buy this. I'll buy it too. Chapter 224. When the surrounding people heard Lu Yu's confident tone, their doubts disappeared. After waiting for a while, the market finally opened. Lu Yu operated the computer and bought 200 million shares. The dozen or so people around him all bought the Jade Lake wine. The least amount was 100,000 yuan, while the most amount was over 1 million yuan. After the purchase was completed, everyone looked at the floating trend of the stock with joy. Why isn't it rising and falling? Someone looked at the graph and asked doubtfully. Lu Yu looked as if victory was in her hands. She said, "This small fluctuation is normal. It will rise back up very soon." When they heard that, everyone felt a little relieved. However, in the next 10 minutes, the stock did not rise at all. It fell by 7%. Professor Liu, is this within the normal range? Someone couldn't help but ask again. Lu Yu looked at the graph and suddenly fell silent. That was because the situation was a little out of her expectations. It was not like M shares here. It was not T plus 0, but T plus 1. To put it simply, if one bought it on the same day, they could only sell it on the next trading day. In the next half an hour, more than 10 pairs of eyes watched as the stock plunged. In the end, it fell to the limit. The surrounding people looked at Lu Yu with bitter expressions. Lu Yu was so embarrassed that she wanted to crawl into a hole. She said, "It's a mistake. It's really a mistake. I made a mistake this time. Next time, when I see a safe stock, I will definitely tell you and let you all earn it back." That was because there was a limit to the limit rise and fall of the market. It was usually around 10%. Lu Yu's colleagues were relatively well off financially. They could accept the loss of 10%. Of course, they would not blame Lu Yu. In fact, Lu Yu was the one who lost the most among them. She had bought 200 million shares and lost 20 million. However, she was rich and did not care about the loss of 20 million. She cared about her own reputation. That was because this was the biggest mistake in Lu Yu's career so far. A stock that fell to the limit was mistakenly estimated to rise to the limit. The difference in judgment was like heaven and earth. Lu Yu felt a little dizzy. She quickly opened Weibo. His colleagues had seen his analysis and realized that they had lost money by buying shares. But they did not blame him. However, the people on the internet were different. After all, they were separated by an internet cable. No one knew what kind of person was on the other side of the internet. Lu Yu quickly wrote a Weibo post. This Weibo post conveyed two meanings. First, tell everyone that the market analysis last night was wrong and don't listen to it. Secondly, I have already bought shares based on these suggestions. I am very sorry. She edited the Weibo post and posted it immediately. Then, she waited for a while to read the comments. A few seconds later, the first comment came. Peerless Stock God. Stock Big V, does your face hurt? Looking at this ID, Lu Yu only felt a little angry, but she didn't directly attack him like she did yesterday. Lu Yu asked, "Friend, how did you know that the Jade Lake Wine Company would plummet?" Peerless Stock God. Call me husband and I'll tell you. Lu Yu. Friend, I really want to discuss the market with you. Can you tell me? Peerless Stock God. If I tell you for free, won't you learn from me? You have to give something in return. Lu Yu frowned. It was impossible for her to call him husband. After thinking about it, Lu Yu tried to provoke him. I think you're just guessing. It's pure luck. It's not an analysis at all. Peerless stock god. Yes, yes, yes. You're right. Wang Haoran didn't fall for it at all. Seeing this, Lu Yu didn't continue to ask. Instead, she analyzed the market tomorrow. At night, Lu Yu returned to the villa. Just like yesterday, Lu Yu was reading on the sofa while Chi Mei was cooking fried noodles in the kitchen. After the fried noodles were ready, Lu Yu and Ji Shuiyao were dragged back to be lab rats. After yesterday's failure, Qiu Qianwei's cooking skills improved a lot. Although it still wasn't that delicious, it was at least delicious. In order to encourage Chi Mei, Lu Yu and Ji Shuiyao ate all the fried noodles. Then, Ji Shuiyao continued to read. Lu Yu posted her analysis of the market tomorrow on Weibo. She also tagged Peerless Stock God and asked, "Why don't you try your luck again?" Qiu Qianwei had nothing to do, so she came over. When she saw Lu Yu's post, she asked, "Sister 5, who is this Peerless Stock God? You even tagged him." Lu Yu replied, "He's a netizen. He saw my analysis of the market yesterday and sang a different tune. In the end, it really came true today. However, when I asked him how he analyzed the market, he didn't say anything at all. I guess he's just a blind cat running into a dead mouse. I just posted on Weibo an analysis and opinion of tomorrow's market, so I tagged him. I want to see if his luck can continue to be good." In a male dormitory, Wang Haoran took out his phone and opened Weibo. He immediately saw that someone had tagged him. He immediately understood the situation when he saw it. Then he checked Lu Yu's post. Perhaps it was because the market had failed today. Lu Yu's forecast for tomorrow was different from before. She didn't directly point out which stock would rise. Instead, she predicted the ups and downs of the market. In Lu Yu's post, she mainly talked about two sectors. One was the medicine and biology sector, and the other was the food and beverage sector. Among them, the medicine and biology sector as a whole showed a downward trend, while the food and beverage sector as a whole showed an upward trend. After sorting out the content, Wang Haoran immediately thought of something. He immediately checked the fluctuations of the medicine and biology sector and the food and beverage sector stock. The food and beverage sector's rising trend tomorrow was indeed, as Lu Yu said. The overall trend would show an upward trend, and some of the food and beverage stocks would hit the upper limit. Lu Yu's prediction was completely correct. She really had some skills. Lu Yu's prediction for the medicine and biology sector was only half right. After the market opened tomorrow, the medicine and biology sector would be in slump. This situation would last until 2:50 in the afternoon. However, in the last 10 minutes before the market closed, the medicine and biology sector as a whole would suddenly rise crazily. All the stocks in this sector would rise. In this sector, 30% of the stocks would hit the upper limit and reach a 10% return. 60% of the stocks would increase between 3% to 8%, and the rest would increase by at least 1%. Wang Haoran immediately left a comment under Lu Yu's new Weibo post after he found out about the trend. Buying the medicine and biology sector stocks tomorrow is equivalent to picking up money. Chapter 225. After Lu Yu posted on Weibo, she had been refreshing the comments. When the Peerless Stock God replied, she immediately saw it. Buying shares in the pharmaceutical and biological sector tomorrow is equivalent to picking up money? It was just a simple analysis, but it was almost unconvincing. Moreover, it was vague. There were so many pharmaceutical and biological stocks. Buying any one of them would make a lot of money? How is that possible? It was rare to see such a situation in the stock market every year. Lu Yu thought that the Peerless Stock God was just talking nonsense. Just as these thoughts flashed through Lu Yu's mind, many netizens replied to the Peerless Stock God his comment. "It's all your fault. Our female stock god has never made such a mistake before. Yesterday, we were completely overturned by your words. It's all your fault." "I agree. It's all your fault. I lost 3,000 yuan from Yaoqi wine today. You jinxed it. Compensate me. Hurry up and compensate me." Buying shares in the pharmaceutical and biological sector is equivalent to picking up money? Who are you? You're quite good at bragging. Do you really think you're the stock god? Whoever buys shares in the pharmaceutical and biological sector tomorrow is an idiot. On the other side, Wang Haoran also saw the comments and replies from other netizens. The first few replies were fine, but the later ones became more and more unpleasant. Some people even directly scolded him with all kinds of vulgarities. Wang Haoren was also very unhappy when he saw these messages. It was clearly Lu Yu's prediction that was wrong. These be asterisk stars bought according to Lu Yu's analysis. In the end, they lost money. They didn't blame Lu Yu, but blamed themselves. Because of that comment that went against Lu Yu, no one would be happy to be the scapegoat. Wang Haoren also wrote a comment and replied, "Wait and see tomorrow. You bunch of idiots. I'll wait for you to kneel down and call me daddy on Weibo. F***CK. As soon as this comment was posted, it attracted many replies. The content of the replies were all unpleasant. Wang Haoren picked a few of the most upbeat ones and added their chat accounts. Then he directly used his top-notch hacking skills and directly hacked their devices. Whether it was their computers or mobile phones, they all crashed. Wang Haoren continued to use the comments to attack those netizens, looking for the most upbeat ones. However, after he edited the comment message, he was notified that it had failed to be sent. Moreover, Lu Yu's Weibo account had disappeared from his account. Wang Haoren immediately understood that he had been blacklisted by Lu Yu. F***CK. At the villa, after Lu Yu blacklisted Wang Haoren, in order to prevent others from spamming her Weibo with vulgarities, she temporarily turned off the comment section. Now that no one was commenting, it was finally quiet. After that, Lu Yu went to wash up and sleep. As for the netizen named Peerless Stock God, she didn't take him hard at all. She just thought that he was a clown on the internet. The next day, the market opened at 9:30 in the morning until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Everything was as Lu Yu had analyzed last night. The food and beverage sector showed an overall upward trend. Only a few food and beverage stocks in this sector fell. Those who bought the food and beverage stocks based on Lu Yu's analysis had mostly made money, and they had made a lot of money. Only a few unlucky people lost money, but the losses were very small. Because of the prediction of the food and beverage sector, Lu Yu's reputation that she had lost yesterday had recovered a lot. At this time, Lu Yu's Weibo comment section was also opened. Those netizens who had bought the food and beverage stocks and made money all ran to the Weibo post that analyzed the market last night. I made a small profit of 1,000. Thank you, goddess. I made a small profit of 3,000. Long live the goddess. Not bad, not bad. I made 8,000 a day. I made back what I lost yesterday, and I even made 16,000. Follow the goddess, and you won't have to worry about food. So I bought too little. I only made a Porsche Panamera. A Panamera cost about $1 million. This comment immediately caused a lot of complaints. However, all in all, the Weibo comment section was lively and joyous. The comments from yesterday were quickly washed down by the congratulatory and thankful comments. After Lu Yu saw these comments, she was also happy. At this time, there was still about 10 minutes to the end of the market. The overall trend was basically unchanged. Lu Yu was too lazy to keep an eye on the market. She directly opened the graph of the movement of the stock market and wanted to take a look at the overall movement of the stock market today. However, at this time, just 10 minutes before the close of the market, on the graph of the stock market, the medical and biological stock market suddenly seemed to be on an airplane. It rose with a momentum that was close to a straight line. It can't be. Lu Yu's heart skipped a beat. She remembered the comment that the Peerless Stock God made yesterday. When this thought came to her mind, Lu Yu did not look at the overall movement of the stock market. She directly clicked on the medical and biological stock market and directly looked at the rise of the stock market. Lu Yu was shocked to see that in the medical and biological stock market, all the stocks that were originally green were rising at an extremely fast speed. Among them, the stocks that had fallen to -9% and were about to hit the upper limit quickly recovered. Moreover, at a speed visible to the naked eye, they turned from green to red and finally reached the upper limit of 10%. When the market closed at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the entire medical and biological stock market was no longer green. They were all red. They all rose, and the stocks on the first page were all at the upper limit of 10%. It was really like what the Peerless Stock God said. Buying the medical and biological stock market was equivalent to picking up money. Wasn't this picking up money? The entire stock market was red, and all of them were rising. There was no loss. Even if one bought it with their eyes closed, they could still make money. The red data was reflected in Lu Yu's eyes, and she was stunned for a moment. Then, she opened Weibo with trembling hands and took the Peerless Stock God out of the blacklist. She then wrote a message. I'm sorry about yesterday. Your prediction was right. I was wrong. Can you tell me how you analyzed it? I can buy your analysis with money. You can name a price. If one prediction was just luck, but it happened twice in a row. This cannot be luck. This Peerless Stock God was definitely not simple. After editing the message, Lu Yu clicked to send a private message. However, she soon received a notification. Private message failed. Looking at the content of the notification, Lu Yu was stunned. She was actually blacklisted. Chapter 2:26. When she realized that she had been blacklisted, Lu Yu was shocked, but then she felt that it was normal. After all, she was the one who blacklisted him first. It was only natural for him to blacklist her as well. However, other than Weibo, she did not have any other way to contact the Peerless Stock God. After thinking about it, Lu Yu directly wrote a Weibo apology to the Peerless Stock God. She also asked her fans to send a private message to the Peerless Stock God and add him to take a look at her Weibo. After this Weibo post was posted, it only took a few seconds for some netizens to comment. I'm going to sit on the first floor. Oh my God, buying medicine and biology is like picking up money. I feel sorry for the goddess. She's been slapped in the face twice. Goddess, I've received the message. I'll send a private message immediately. This Peerless Stock God is quite something. Who is he? Reporting, I've sent a private message. After reading these messages, Lu Yu waited quietly, hoping that the Peerless Stock God would reply to her as soon as possible. At that moment, Wang Haoren, who had just finished class, realized that the market had closed. He took out his phone and opened Weibo to check. He had already deleted all the private messages that he had sent yesterday. At this moment, there were nearly 1,000 private messages. Wang Haoren immediately opened them. However, the style of these private messages was completely different from yesterday. Daddy, what should I buy tomorrow? Daddy, a goddess is looking for you. Hurry up and take a look. Daddy, I shouldn't have criticized you yesterday. I was wrong. What should I buy tomorrow? Tell me. I've clicked follow. Please post on Weibo and analyze tomorrow's market. With the heavens above and the earth as my witness, I'm willing to acknowledge you as my father and serve you as my own father. With the heavens above and earth as my witness, I've betrayed you and forsaken you. I've acknowledged you as my father. Daddy, what should I buy tomorrow? Wang Haoren looked at some of the private messages and could not help but laugh in anger. Damn it, they were just scolding me before, and now they're acknowledging me as their father. Wang Haoren still remembered a few of the IDs. They had been scolding him fiercely before, but now they were pretending that nothing had happened. Wang Haoren directly blacklisted these IDs. Then, he checked the other changes on his Weibo. This newly registered account originally didn't have a single fan. The few people who followed it were all haters. They only paid attention to it for the convenience of sending private messages. However, at this time, because of the accurate prediction of the biomedicine section by the account Peerless Stock God, it attracted a lot of attention. In a short while, it had increased to more than 30,000 fans. Every few seconds, the interface would be refreshed and the number of followers would increase by about 1,000. The growth rate of his fans was terrifying. Then, Wang Haoren went to Lu Yu's Weibo to take a look. Naturally, he saw Lu Yu's new apology on Weibo. Lu Yu wanted to use money to buy his prediction and analysis of the medical section. Wang Haoren did not care about this at all. After all, he did not lack money. However, he still had a reply. However, he did not intend to comment on Lu Yu's Weibo. This woman had blacklisted him yesterday. Although she had apologized, he could not let it go just like that. Women, especially a proud woman like Lu Yu, must not be spoiled. Otherwise, if she really came into contact with him in the future, she would definitely be arrogant. After thinking about it, Wang Haoren directly used this account to write a Weibo post. Post a Weibo post and say, "Hubby, I was wrong, and I'll tell you. Otherwise, there's no need to talk." After editing the content, Wang Haoren sent it out. On the other side, after Lu Yu posted the apology on Weibo, she had been waiting for Wang Haoren's reply. Every minute, she would refresh the Weibo comments. Under the comments, netizens soon informed her that there was news from Peerless God. Lu Yu was delighted and excitedly ran to Peerless God's Weibo to take a look. However, when she saw the content of the Weibo post, her face froze. He wanted her to acknowledge him as her husband? This was a little difficult. Lu Yu wanted to bargain with him, but she quickly remembered that she had been blacklisted by Peerless God. She could not send him private messages or comment. It's just a simple post on Weibo. It's not like I'm shouting in front of him. It's not a big deal, right? It's not like I'm going to lose a piece of meat. Moreover, this is the internet. We don't know each other. It's not like I can take it seriously. After comforting herself, Lu Yu began to edit the Weibo post. She tagged Peerless God and added the words, "Hubby, I was wrong." After Wang Haoren saw this Weibo post, he used a private message to tell Lu Yu all about the reason why the medical and biological board stock prices rose at the end of the day. After Lu Yu heard this, she could not help but have a sudden realization. Immediately, she developed a strong feeling of admiration for Peerless God. At night, in the villa's living room, Lu Yu wrote an analysis of the stock market as per her habit. However, just as she was about to type, she suddenly paused. 2 consecutive days of wrong judgment had already left a shadow in her heart. As this emotion gushed out, Lu Yu sent a message to Peerless God. She briefly explained her analysis of the stock market and asked, "What do you think?" After waiting for a few minutes, Lu Yu received a reply. "I'll give you a chance to reorganize your words. Ask me a question. What should I say?" Lu Yu was stunned. However, she quickly understood and sent a private message. "Hubby, what do you think?" Anyway, she had already called him that on Weibo and was seen by so many netizens. She had already embarrassed herself. Now, she was only calling him that in a private message. Only Peerless God saw it, so it did not affect anything. As Lu Yu obeyed, the Peerless God quickly replied, "There's some improvement. The prediction is completely correct." After seeing this message, Lu Yu could not help but let out a long sigh of relief. Then, she reached out her hand and began to type on the keyboard. Where fingers fell on the alphabet keys, she was extremely confident. Not far away, Ji Shuiyao was holding her phone. She was typing a message and was about to send it to someone. "Sister 6, what are you typing?" While Ji Shuiyao was engrossed in editing the message, Qiu Qianwei walked out of the kitchen after cleaning up the dishes. She sat down on the sofa next to Ji Shuiyao and asked in a loud voice, "What are you doing?" Clatter. Ji Shuiyao was so scared that her hand trembled and her phone fell to the ground. She couldn't help but say, "Seventh sister, can you not suddenly scare people? My heart almost jumped out of my throat because of you." As she complained bitterly, she picked up the phone that had fallen to the ground. Fortunately, the quality of this phone was good. After being scared by Qiu Qianwei twice, the screen was still intact. Chapter 227. Qiu Qianwei said, "I'm sorry, Sister Lu. I saw you smiling when you were texting, so I guess that you were chatting with your boyfriend. That's why I teased you. I won't do it again." Ji Xiao didn't notice it herself, so she asked in surprise, "Was I smiling?" Qiu Qianwei nodded and said mischievously, "Of course. Even someone as rigid and serious as Sister Lu becomes more girly when you're in a relationship." Ji Shuiyao felt guilty and hurriedly explained, "Sister Lu, you're mistaken. I'm really not in a relationship." Qiu Qianwei smiled and said, "Even if you're not in a relationship, you should at least like him, right? Otherwise, with your personality, you would never smile like that when you're chatting with someone on your phone." Ji Shuiyao didn't know how to refute that. She could only say, "I do like him, but we're not suitable for each other." Qiu Qianwei couldn't help but move closer to her and ask with concern, "Why are you not suitable for each other?" "We're just not suitable for each other." Ji Shuiyao didn't want to talk about it. Qiu Qianwei imagined it and asked in surprise, "Sister Lu, don't tell me you like a married man." Ji Shuiyao hurriedly explained, "He's not a married man. He just has a girlfriend." Qiu Qianwei breathed a sigh of relief and suddenly came up with a bad idea. So he just has a girlfriend. What's wrong with that? Sister Lu, since you like him, go and chase him. Ji Shuiyao was stunned by her words. That's too immoral. I can't do that. Qiu Qianwei heard Sister Lu's words and immediately said regretfully, since that's the case, Sister Lu, you should give up the idea as soon as possible. Otherwise, you'll be asking for trouble. Ji Shuiyao frowned and looked at Qiu Qianwei seriously. She said, I want to, but I've tried many times. I can't do it. Qiu Qianwei suggested, since you can't forget him, go ahead and chase him. Love is selfish. Go and chase him. Hearing this, Ji Shuiyao's heart was filled with a strange feeling. After pausing for a while, she replied, forget it. It won't work. Qiu Qianwei didn't understand. Why not? Sister Lu, you're so beautiful. Isn't it easy for you to chase a man? Ji Shuiyao repeated, I really can't. Qiu Qianwei guessed. His girlfriend is also very beautiful. Ji Shuiyao nodded and replied, yes, very beautiful. Just as beautiful as you, seventh sister. Hearing this, Qiu Qianwei racked her brains to think of a solution. As a sister, of course, she was very considerate of her sixth sister. About 10 seconds later, Qiu Qianwei suddenly said seriously, sixth sister, since you can't ruin their relationship, why don't you discuss it with his girlfriend and share a boyfriend? Ji Shuiyao was dumbfounded. Is that even possible? Qiu Qianwei thought for a while and suddenly shook her head. It doesn't seem right. Sixth sister, it's too much for you. If you don't mind, I won't feel wronged. Ji Shuiyao really wanted to say this to her seventh younger sister, but how could she say such shameless words? After chatting for a while, Qiu Qianwei realized that she couldn't solve Sister Lu's problem. She didn't know what to say. Sixth sister, seventh sister, buy these 2 stocks tomorrow. It's guaranteed to be a 100% profit. Just then, Lu Yu suddenly came over after posting on Weibo. She showed the names of the 2 stocks on her phone screen to Ji Shuiyao and Qiu Qianwei. Ji Shuiyao was puzzled. Fifth sister, I remember you saying that the market is unpredictable. No matter how good your analysis is, you can't predict which stocks are guaranteed to be a 100% profit. Lu Yu said confidently, there are exceptions. I have an expert to guide me now. If I lose, it's on me. Ji Shuiyao was even more curious. What expert? Qiu Qianwei also asked. Yeah, what expert? They didn't pay much attention to Weibo recently, so they didn't know about the news. Lu Yu smiled mysteriously. An expert is an expert. Anyway, I've told you the password. It's up to you whether you want to buy it or not. With that, she got ready to wash up and go to bed. Qiu Qianwei and Ji Shuiyao looked at each other. They felt that fifth sister was a little strange today. However, they made up their minds to buy the 2 stocks mentioned by fifth sister when the market opened tomorrow. Ji Shuiyao's motive was to earn some research funding. Qiu Qianwei wanted to earn a huge sum of money to buy a huge gift for Wang Haoren. I'll give you a 10 million yuan supercar. Go and pick one. Let me know when you're done. Qiu Qianwei typed a message and sent it out. In the dormitory, Wang Haoren received Qiu Qianwei's message and was stunned. He replied, oh my God, are you kidding? Qiu Qianwei, I have more than 1 billion yuan in assets too. I can definitely afford it. Go and pick a supercar. Wang Haoren, rich women are so rich. Can you give me some? Of course, he was joking. Qiu Qianwei, sure. How much do you want? Wang Haoren, I want all of it, okay? Seeing that Qiu Qianwei seemed to take it seriously, he continued joking. Qiu Qianwei, I need some money to live too. I'll get someone to calculate my assets. I'll keep 50 million for myself and give you the rest. Is that okay? When Wang Haoren saw Qiu Qianwei's message, he couldn't help but sigh. Qiu Qianwei's impression of him was 95. How could she say something like that? It was fortunate that he had such thoughts. Otherwise, she wouldn't even know what was going on if he sold her. Wang Haoren stopped joking and typed a message. Why would I need so much money? I was just joking. As for the supercar, my family booked a 50 million yuan Bugatti Veyron for me. It should arrive tomorrow. When Qiu Qianwei saw this message, she was stunned for a moment. Then, she felt a little happy. She didn't know much about Wang Haoren's family background, but when she heard this, she immediately understood that Wang Haoren was a super-rich young master. No wonder he was so handsome and had such a good temperament. He was born into a rich family. Qiu Qianwei, since you have the car, I'll give you something else. What do you want? Wang Haoran. You. Ding. The host has touched the heart of the female lead, Qiu Qianwei. Received 1,000 villain points. Qiu Qianwei, tell me a place. I'll see you later. Chapter 228. The next day at noon, the sun was slightly scorching. On campus, a courier named Su Chun was riding an electric tricycle. On the flame night, shuttling between cities. The bigger the sun, the more the accelerator. Go, go. Ba 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 ba. Su Chun sang cheerful songs while riding the electric tricycle, ignoring the scorching sun above his head. Even if his forehead was full of sweat, he was still full of energy. Because after one more delivery, he would save enough money to buy the latest 5G mobile phone for his girlfriend. The two were together when they were freshmen. Now that they were sophomores, they had been dating for almost a year and a half. However, what made Su Chun regretful was that after dating for almost a year and a half, he had only held his girlfriend's hand a few times. But it didn't matter because Su Chin's girlfriend said that as long as he gave her the latest 5G mobile phone, she would agree to an excessive request of Su Chun. And now, Su Chin was about to do it. Screech. The electric tricycle came to a stop downstairs of a female dormitory. Su Chun found one of the deliveries and called the contact number. Hello, your express delivery has arrived. Please sign downstairs. The phone was connected and Su Chun said in a sophisticated tone, Oh, please wait for 5 minutes. I'll be right there. A sweet and pleasant female voice came from the other end of the phone and then hung up. The courier was a race against time. If it was in the past, Su Chun would have left the express delivery directly at the door of the dormitory building and let the other party come down to pick it up later. However, when Su Chun heard the sweet and pleasant female voice on the phone, he couldn't help but want to wait and see the other party's appearance. This female dormitory building was for freshmen. Su Chun heard that among these freshmen, they were generally beautiful. Just in this batch of freshmen, there were 3 campus belles. He didn't know if he would have such good luck to be able to deliver the express delivery to the campus belles. With this thought in mind, Su Chun waited quietly. However, before Su Chun saw the girl who came to pick up the express delivery, he first saw his girlfriend. She was walking hand in hand with a boy, and their behavior was particularly intimate. Su Chun only felt something on top of his head, and then he became angry. He rushed forward and pointed at his girlfriend. What a Wang Xiaoyan. Tell me what's going on. Seeing Su Chun suddenly appear, Wang Xiaoyan subconsciously panicked. The boy next to Wang Xiaoyan looked at Su Chun with disdain and asked Wang Xiaoyan, Who is he? Before Wang Xiaoyan could answer, Su Chun said, I'm her boyfriend. Who are you? Laozi is a freshman in the finance department. My name is Lu Hua. My family has billions of assets. You stinky courier, you actually dare to steal my girlfriend. Are you tired of living? The boy holding Wang Xiaoyan's hand shouted. After Wang Xiaoyan heard the words billions of assets, she couldn't close her legs. She said to Su Chun mercilessly, Let's break up. Su Chun didn't want to pester her shamelessly. He said coolly, Let's break up. The next one is better. Wang Xiaoyan said contemptuously, You're just a courier, and you want to find a better girlfriend? You're probably daydreaming. Su Chun was shocked, but on the surface, he was not convinced. He directly said, Life is full of ups and downs. Don't bully the young for being poor. After leaving these harsh words, Su Chun turned around angrily and went back to his scooter. Hello, where's my courier? At this time, a sweet junior came out of the dormitory building and asked Su Chun. Hearing this, Su Chun looked up and was surprised and happy. He stammered, You are Su Muyin? On the courier list, the online name of the purchasing platform was filled in. Otherwise, Su Chun would know that the customer was Su Muyin. Su Muyin was stunned. You know me? Su Chun said excitedly. How can I not know? Junior, you're on the campus forum. You're one of the 3 campus beauties among the freshmen. I even voted for you. After Su Muyin asked curiously, she didn't talk much with the other party. She just asked, Where's my courier? Su Chun quickly reacted. Here you go. Remember to give it a 5-star rating. Su Muyin nodded, took the courier, and signed for it. Then she walked into the dormitory building. Su Chen stared at Su Muyin as she left. He wanted to die. Su Muyin in person was even more beautiful than the photos on the forum. Su Chan stared in the direction of Su Muyin for a long time before he was ready to leave on his scooter. Ding! Courier God of Luxury System Binding. 1%, 10%, 100%. Ding! Courier God of Luxury System Binding successful. Congratulations to the host for receiving a 5-star rating and completing a special courier. The host is rewarded with a Bugatti Veyron. Ding! Bugatti Veyron will be delivered today. Please keep your mobile phone connected so that the sender can contact you. Hearing the voice in his mind, Su Chan was stunned for a moment. Then he quickly understood that he was blessed by the heavens and was possessed by the system. He just said to Wang Xiaoyan, life is full of ups and downs. Don't bully the poor young. Not to mention 30 years, in less than 3 minutes, he was about to make a comeback. He just delivered a special courier and got a Bugatti Veyron. This was a 50 million supercar. If Wang Xiaoyan saw this, she would definitely regret it. Su Chun secretly rejoiced that Wang Xiaoyan took the initiative to break up with him. Now that he was single and possessed by the system, if he didn't pursue the campus belle, wouldn't that be too unfair to himself? Awesome. Su Chan was in a good mood and rode the electric tricycle to deliver the next courier. In the afternoon, in a class of the finance department, a group of students were discussing, "Oh my God, look, Professor Liu Yu called someone husband on Weibo. I knew it last night." The person called husband by Professor Liu Yu is an account with the ID Peerless Stock God. I even followed him. This Peerless Stock God is too awesome. His prediction of the stock market is even more accurate than Professor Liu Yu. Haven't you heard of the saying experts are among the people? This is the password of wealth. I have to follow him quickly. Liu Yu, who had 50 million followers, was still very influential. Her apology on Weibo, as well as the Weibo that someone calls her husband after a night of fermentation, directly went to the top 5 trending searches on Weibo. The title of the trending search was Shocking. Financial genius Liu Yu acknowledged her husband on Weibo. In the class, some students were using Weibo. After learning the news, they told the students around them and directly spread the news. And just as the students were discussing, there was a sound of high-heeled footsteps on the ground outside the door. The students who had gathered to discuss animatedly immediately scattered like birds and beasts. They returned to their seats and sat upright like obedient students. The classroom suddenly became quiet and peaceful. A cold and arrogant figure with amazing curves walked into the classroom. Chapter 229. If all of you have nothing better to do, you should read up on serious financial news instead of gossip. When Liu Yu reached the door, she heard the students' discussion. She did not want her dignity to be damaged, so she scolded the students with a stern face. After all, acknowledging her husband on Weibo really damaged her image in the eyes of the students. If she was not strict with them, how could she control them in the future? Liu Yu's face was cold as she looked at the seated students. She continued, "Have you forgotten what I said in the practical class?" Hearing that, other than Mu Zhao and Wen Jing, the other students immediately stood up from their seats and prepared to listen to the class. This class was a theory class, not a practical one. Liu Yu took out a piece of chalk and wrote down a few topics on the blackboard. Then, she began to prepare for the class. At that moment, someone slowly walked in from outside the classroom. It was Wang Haoran, who was given special privileges by Liu Yu. If she did not acknowledge her husband on Weibo, Liu Yu would have let Wang Haoran do whatever he wanted. However, she had to go back on her words to establish her prestige and reduce the impact of acknowledging her husband. Liu Yu said, "Those who are late, stand outside and listen to the class." Wang Haoran walked into the classroom as if no one was around. He was about to find a seat when he heard Liu Yu's words. He could not help but ask in surprise, "Professor Liu's words don't count?" Liu Yu said, "Of course they count. However, the special privileges I gave you will only take effect after a year." Wang Haoran sighed and said, "Professor Liu, Is it really okay to be so shameless? Lu Yu's expression did not change. I have a final say. Wang Haoran said, I object. Lu Yu said, your objection is invalid. I am a teacher and you are a student. In class, the student has to obey the teacher's words. Unless you are better than me and don't need me to teach you, then you can do whatever you want. Wang Haoran smiled and nodded. Good idea. Professor Lu, do you still remember the promise of 100-fold increase from 10,000? Lu Yu recalled the joke from before and said, turn 10,000 into 1,000,000. Wang Haoran smiled and said, that's right, this is it. When Lu Yu saw Wang Haoran's expression, her heart couldn't help but skip a beat. She was afraid that he would really be able to do it. To be safe, Lu Yu slyly said, all right, if you can turn 10,000 into 1,000,000 in 3 days, then you're amazing. You'll be able to enjoy the privilege of being late and leaving early in my class. Wang Haoran couldn't help but smile as he corrected her. It's a week. Lu Yu snorted and said with certainty, I clearly remember that it was 3 days. Hearing those words, Wang Haoran could tell that Lu Yu was trying to act shamelessly. However, Lu Yu still underestimated him. Wang Haoran said, all right, then I'll borrow your computer, Professor Lu. I'll log into the account I registered during the practical class and see how much money I have now. As he spoke, he went straight to the podium. Lu Yu always carried her laptop with her. Firstly, she needed it for class, and secondly, she needed it for trading stocks. Wang Haoran sat on the stool and operated Lu Yu's laptop for a while. Soon, he opened his account. Lu Yu leaned forward and glanced at the balance on the account. 19 million. What's the point of faking it? Lu Yu immediately sneered when she saw the exaggerated balance. Wang Haoran said indifferently, there are detailed transaction records on the account. Whether it was earned with 10,000 or directly recharged, you'll know at a glance. Lu Yu didn't believe him. She immediately opened the transaction records on the account with the intention of exposing Wang Haoran. There were nearly 1,000 transaction records on the account. Lu Yu was dazzled by the number of transactions. However, the 19 million balance was indeed earned with 10,000. In 3 days, 10,000 was more than 100 times. Seeing such a dreamy profit, Lu Yu couldn't stand still. She staggered and almost fell to the ground. Fortunately, Wang Haoran reached out in time and pulled her back. Lu Yu straightened her body and looked at Wang Haoran in disbelief. Ding! The female lead Lu Yu's favorability towards the host has increased by 10. Current favorability is 40. Very friendly. Ding! The host has influenced the plot. Received 500 villain points. Lu Yu asked in disbelief. In 3 days, 10,000 became 19 million. How did you do it? Below the podium, all the students, including Lin Shun, looked at Wang Haoran and waited for his answer. Lin Shun previously had a record of multiplying several times in 3 days. However, that was because he encountered a rare opportunity in the stock market. That was why he had such a brilliant result. Recently, Lin Shun also paid attention to the M shares. Due to the meltdown of some of the stocks, the M shares weren't doing well. In such a bad situation, it actually increased by more than 100 times. This was too scary. This guy is definitely a cheater. Lin Shun thought with certainty. Facing Lu Yu's question, Wang Haoran only smiled. It's a secret. After speaking, Wang Haoran directly contacted the system. Charm Halo was currently in a usable state. Lu Yu's favorability had already reached 40. As long as it increased by 10 points, it would change qualitatively and reach the adoration level. If he didn't use it now, when would he use it? Ding! Charm Halo failed. What's going on? Why can't I use it again? Receiving the system's notification, Wang Haoran was puzzled. Previously, a similar situation had occurred with Qiu Qianwei and Ji Shui Yao. However, when Wang Haoran displayed outstanding attainments in their domain, he could use Charm Halo. And Lu Yu was a financial genius. In just 3 days, he had increased 10,000 to 19 million. This kind of result was completely in line with Lu Yu's standards for choosing a partner. As a question arose, Wang Haoran immediately contacted the system. Why did Charm Halo fail? Replying to the host, the female lead Lu Yu and the host have an identity barrier. Therefore, Charm Halo cannot be used to force the female lead Lu Yu to fall in love with the host. What identity barrier? Teacher, student. Receiving the system's reply, Wang Haoran instantly understood. However, he couldn't help but secretly ridicule it. This Lu, you clearly look like a woman from the new era. How could she have such old-fashioned ideas? In this era, a teacher-student relationship wasn't a big deal at all. Could it be that by making him drop out, he would break this identity barrier? However, if he dropped out, he would lose a lot. That wasn't realistic. Other than his identity as a student, he seemed to have another mysterious identity. Got it. Wang Haoran's eyes lit up. He immediately thought of an excellent idea to deal with Lu Yu. Chapter 230. Due to the existence of the identity barrier, if Wang Haoran wanted to deal with Lu Yu personally, it would be an extremely difficult task. However, other than his identity as a student, Wang Haoran also had another identity, which was the peerless stock god. Due to his accurate prediction of the stock market twice, Lu Yu was already convinced by him. In order to ask for advice, Lu Yu even posted a message to acknowledge him as her husband. However, Lu Yu still did not know that he was the peerless stock god. Then, he could use the identity of the peerless stock god to have an online relationship with Lu Yu. As their relationship deepened day by day, when Lu Yu's favorability level increased to a certain level, he could directly reveal it. At that time, Lu Yu would be so deeply in love that she could not extricate herself. The so-called identity barrier would not be a problem. That was what he would do. After Wang Haoran sorted out his thoughts, he suddenly felt much more relaxed. The afternoon class ended very quickly. The students in the class left one after another. Wang Haoran, Lu Hua, Lu Ming, and Wei Zhihong left together to prepare for lunch. Just as they left the classroom, a girl hurriedly came up to Lu Hua. Lu Hua flirted with the girl in front of everyone. Lu Ming said in surprise, "Second brother, you're quite fast. You actually found a girlfriend?" Lu Hua smiled. "Of course I have to be fast." Wei Zhihong was curious. "A freshman?" Lu Hua replied. "She's a second-year senior." "Hello, everyone." Wang Xiaoyan greeted the others. Wang Haoran subconsciously sized up Wang Xiaoyan. This Wang Xiaoyan was quite good-looking. If she could score 80 points, she could be considered a beauty. However, no matter how he looked at her, this Wang Xiaoyan felt like A**TCH. This was because Wang Haoran realized that when he was sizing her up, she was secretly flirting with him. Although his charm was so high, it was normal for girls to be infatuated with him. However, it was too much for her to flirt with him behind Lu Hua's back. "You don't have any contact with your ex-boyfriend, right?" Just as some thoughts appeared in Wang Haoran's mind, Lu Hua suddenly asked Wang Xiaoyan. Wang Xiaoyan immediately hugged Lu Hua's arm and said coquettishly, "I've already broken up with him. Of course, I don't have any contact with him." Wang Haoran narrowed his eyes and asked Lu Hua, "Are you trying to steal someone's love?" Stealing someone else's girlfriend is much more interesting than chasing a single girl. 2. Hearing this answer, Wang Haoran immediately understood some things. Lu Hua was a second-generation rich villain. If he wasn't wrong, the matter of stealing someone's love was most likely to attract hatred. Thinking of this, Wang Haoran looked at Wang Xiaoyan and immediately asked, "What's your ex-boyfriend's name?" To the was to be, to with a name. Wang Haoran continued to ask, "What does this Su Qin do?" Before Wang Xiaoyan answered, Lu Hua interjected disdainfully, "A sophomore, a poor guy who works part-time as a courier." "Boss, are you worried that he will trouble me?" Hearing this, Wang Haoran basically confirmed his guess. Lu Hua's attitude and face were a bit annoying at first glance. How dare he look down on a courier student in the university? Haven't you read the novels about the god of delivery? You actually dare to laugh at a courier as a poor guy. It won't take long for him to slap your face. Of course, from the current point of view, Su Qin was not related to him. He would wait and see for the time being. He would let Su Qin develop. After all, the protagonist of the god of delivery was not a threat to Wang Haoran. After chatting for a while, they walked out of the teaching building and prepared to go out for dinner. On the way, Wang Haoran received a call from Zhenli. Baby son, I just received a call saying that there was a problem with the truck delivering the Bugatti. There was a car accident on the road, and the Bugatti was damaged. The car may not arrive for 2 months, Zhenli said on the phone. Wang Haoren said depressingly, I have waited for almost 2 months. Now I have to wait for another 2 months? Zhenli comforted. This is also something that can't be helped. The Bugatti car is like this. It takes a long time to produce a car. However, the person in charge of the manufacturer told me that they will compensate 5 million yuan for psychological damage. I will transfer the money to you later. Wang Haoren said indifferently, forget it. He was not sure money now. Moreover, there were several rich women around him, such as Tang Bingyun, Qiu Qianwei, Cheng Rue, and so on. After chatting for a while, the call was hung up. The group passed by the school gate and found that there was a lot of people around the school gate. They did not know what they were looking at. Wang Haoren was not a bored person. Naturally, he did not go over to look. However, when they passed by the crowd, they suddenly heard some conversations. Who ordered the supercar? It is so cool. It must be at least a few million yuan, right? Country bumpkin, open your eyes and look at the car logo. It is called Bugatti. How can you buy it with a few million yuan? Oh my god, this is a Bugatti Veyron. Who ordered the Bugatti? Why hasn't anyone come to sign for it? Just wait, you will see the face of the god of wealth soon. Bugatti Veyron? Who is so extravagant and more expensive than our boss? Hearing the conversation, Wang Haoren and the others also stopped. Lu Hua could not help but ask in surprise. Wang Haoren did not speak. He only felt that it was a little strange. The Bugatti Veyron he ordered was damaged and would not arrive until 2 months later. Now Bugatti Veyron suddenly appeared. How could he not be suspicious? Wang Haoren said to Lu Hua and the others, let's go inside and have a look. I will lead the way. Lu Hua responded, and then used brute force to push the crowd away and make a path. Those who were touched by Lu Hua were very unhappy, but when they saw Lu Hua wearing international brands, they knew that he was a rich second generation, so they did not dare to provoke him. They just complained in their hearts. Wang Haoren and the others quickly entered the inner circle and saw the scene inside. In front of them, there was a big truck. The truck was made of special glass, and they could see the cool Bugatti Veyron inside. Next to the big truck, there were 2 drivers and a man in a suit. The man in the suit held a contract in his hand and waited patiently for the distinguished owner to sign it. Wang Haoren stepped forward and asked the man in the suit, I also ordered a Bugatti, and it will arrive today. Can you help me check if the owner of this Bugatti is me? The man in the suit saw that Wang Haoren had a noble temperament. At first glance, he knew that he was a young master of a rich family, so he did not doubt his words and asked respectfully, May I know your name? Wang Haoren. When the man in the suit heard that, he immediately shook his head and apologized. I'm sorry. The information on this document shows that the owner is another person. Who is it? Asked Wang Haoren. I'm very sorry. Due to the work rules, it's not convenient for me to disclose this. Wang Haoren nodded and did not insist. He just took out his phone and immediately called Zhenli. Darling, what's wrong? Wang Haoren said, Mom, when you ordered the Bugatti, you should have some information on the car, right? Do you have the engine number? Zhenli said, Of course I do. Hearing that, Wang Haoren immediately used his jade eyes to check the engine number of the Bugatti in front of him and immediately reported it to Zhenli. Every car's engine number was unique. If this was the car that Zhenli ordered, then the engine number of the 2 cars was definitely the same. Zhenli took a pen and paper and recorded it, then immediately found the data of the car she ordered to compare. A few minutes later, Zhenli immediately replied, Son, the engine number is the same. Wang Haoren immediately said, The manufacturer lied to you. The Bugatti you ordered is fine. It's in front of me now, but the owner is not me. Zhenli saw that her darling son was wronged, so she immediately comforted him. Darling, don't worry. I'll contact the manufacturer right away. They're cheating and it's illegal. If they don't give me a reasonable explanation, I'll hire 10 lawyers to sue them. Wang Haoren said, I want a reply in 5 minutes. Okay. Zhenli hung up the phone and immediately went to contact the manufacturer. Wang Haoren stayed where he was, waiting for Zhenli's reply. He casually looked around, looking for the protagonist. His original plan was to wait for Su-chan to develop for a while, then he would take advantage of him. However, now that Su-chan wanted to steal his Bugatti, Wang Haoren could not tolerate it. Wang Haoren had already planned to wait for Zhun Li for 5 minutes. If there was no reply in 5 minutes, he could only secretly poison Su-chan so that he could not sign for the Bugatti for the time being. Su-chan rode an electric tricycle and came to the school gate excitedly. Then he parked the electric tricycle and was ready to walk into the crowd. However, at this moment, he suddenly saw a person and hurriedly walked up and greeted with a smile. "Hello, Su Muyin." Su Muyin saw so many people at the school gate and stopped to take a look curiously. After hearing the voice next to her, she turned her head. When she saw this unfamiliar face, she could not help but be stunned, but soon remembered that this was the young man who delivered the package to her yesterday. Su Muyin was not familiar with him, but out of politeness, she reluctantly squeezed out a smile as a response. Su-chan asked again, "Su Muyin, where are you going?" Su Muyin looked indifferent and replied perfunctorily, "Nowhere." Su-chan said happily, "Then you're free. I don't know if I have the honor to take you for a ride." Su Muyin shook her head and refused. "I still have something to do." Su-chan refused to give up. "I'll drive a Bugatti and give you a ride." "You're not willing?" Su Muyin was surprised. "Bugatti? You mean the one inside?" Although she did not see the scene inside, she already knew the reason for the hustle and bustle here from the discussion around her. Su-chan smiled. "Yes, it's the one inside." Su Muyin looked at Su-chan's courier outfit and naturally did not believe it. "Don't joke around." Su-chan said, "You don't believe me? Then let's make a bet. If I successfully sign for this Bugatti, you'll go for a ride with me. How about it?" Su Muyin did not take it to heart at all and just smiled. Su-chan was happy and took it as Su Muyin's acquiescence. So he said, "Wait for me. I'll drive the Bugatti and take you for a ride." After that, Su-chan walked toward the crowd, but there were too many people and he could not squeeze in. Su-chan reached out to push the crowd and shouted, "Don't block the way, I want to sign for the Bugatti." "Hey, isn't this the courier boy Su-chan? I didn't hear you wrong, did I? This Bugatti is yours? I'm afraid you haven't woken up yet." "That's right. Why don't you look in the mirror and see what kind of person you are?" "Ignore this retard. He just wants to go in and see the world." "Su-chan, get out of the way, don't push me." Some of the people around who knew Su-chan were dissatisfied with Su-chan's behavior and suddenly began to criticize him. Su-chan sneered, "A bunch of scum. I'll slap your faces until they're swollen." After that, he directly used brute force and squeezed into the crowd, causing a burst of complaints and criticism around him. However, Su-chan did not take it seriously at all. After a while, Su-chan finally squeezed into the inner circle. Wang Xiaoyan, who was in the inner circle, after seeing him, suddenly said unhappily, "Su-chan, what are you doing here? We've already broken up. Don't pester me." Su-chan looked at Wang Xiaoyan contemptuously. "Gold digger, don't flatter yourself. I'm not here for you." Wang Xiaoyan did not believe it. "If you're not here for me, then what are you doing here? I think you're deliberately trying to make your presence known in front of me. Don't be delusional. I only like my Hua Hua now. You can get lost as far as you can." While speaking, she pretentiously leaned into Lu Hua's arms. Lu Hua hugged her and grabbed her while he was at it, and mocked Su-chan. "You heard it, poor guy, why don't you get lost?" Su-chan retorted, "You two idiots, I can't be bothered with you. I'm here to sign for the Bugatti." Hearing this, Lu Hua and Wang Xiaoyan looked at each other and then laughed loudly. "Su-chan, you're just a poor boy from the countryside. How dare you say such big words? It's simply laughable. You must have been dumped. There's something wrong with your head." Lu Hua and Wang Xiaoyan, this pair of soy sauce villains and gold diggers, ridiculed wildly. On the side, Wang Haoren communicated with the system and checked Su-chan. Protagonist, Su-chan, combat strength, 66, charm, 53. Protagonist aura, 10/20, skill, golden finger delivery, god tycoon system. Every time you deliver a package to a beauty with a score of 90 and above and get a 5-star rating, you can get a super wealth reward. Su Chen's relevant information quickly appeared in Wang Haoren's mind. As he expected, this Su Chen really did have the God Tycoon system. His Bugatti Veyron was suddenly transferred to Su Chen's name. It must be because after Su Chen completed the special delivery, his God Tycoon system played tricks. In the face of Lu Hua and Wang Xiaolian's ridicule, Su Chen said, "Wang Xiaolian, you'll regret it soon. I just made an appointment with the freshman campus belle Su Muyin. I'll take her for a ride in the Bugatti later. You'll be envious." Wang Xiaolian said disdainfully, "She's the campus belle. Why would she care about you? Stop dreaming." 3 campus belle emerged among the freshmen, and it also caused a huge disturbance in the campus forum. Wang Xiaolian naturally knew Su Muyin. Not only Wang Xiaolian, almost all the other students present had heard of her and seen her photos at the same time. Su Muyin herself is here. In the crowd, someone exclaimed and then took the initiative to make a path. Many people's eyes fell on Su Muyin, who was holding the mentality of watching a show. Wang Xiaolian deliberately wanted to embarrass Su Chen, so she immediately walked towards Su Muyin. "Su Muyin, someone over there is slandering you. Quickly come and explain." Su Muyin was outside and couldn't see the situation inside, so after hearing Wang Xiaolian's words, she couldn't help but be stunned. But in order to avoid damaging her reputation, she followed her into the inner circle. When Su Chen saw Su Muyin coming, he immediately smiled and said, "Campus belle Su, we just agreed that if I signed for the Bugatti, you would go for a ride with me, right?" Su Muyin changed her sweet and lovely appearance, fiercely slapped Su Chen in the face, and said angrily, "Hey, who are you? I'm not familiar with you. Don't talk nonsense. Even if you have a spaceship, I won't go for a ride with you, let alone a Bugatti." Su Chen was stunned by the slap. When he was talking to Su Muyin just now, he clearly felt that she was a girl with a very good temper. Why did she suddenly get angry? Just when Su Chen was puzzled, Su Muyin also walked in front of Wang Haoren and said anxiously, "Don't listen to this person's nonsense. It's completely his wishful thinking. I only like you. You have to believe me." Wang Haoren said with a smile, "Of course I believe you. You don't have to explain." He didn't know how many times the protagonist tricked the heroine. He had long been used to it. Moreover, with Su Muyin's current favorability of 80 for him, it was impossible for her to do such a thing. Su Muyin nods in high spirits, as if relieved of a heavy burden. Wow! The surrounding people suddenly burst into an uproar. It turned out that Su Muyin, one of the 3 campus belles among the freshmen, had someone she liked. Lu Hua, Lu Ming, and Wei Zhihong looked at Wang Haoren with great admiration. Boss is the boss. In just a few days, he actually directly got one of the campus belles of the freshmen. Amazing. Wang Xiaolian mocked. Su Chen, a handsome man and a beautiful woman are a match made in heaven. What does it have to do with a monster like you? Hurry up and get out of here. Su Chen touched his cheek that was painful from the slap and only felt very embarrassed, but he didn't refute anything. He just wanted to use actions to pick up the lost face. With this thought, Su Chen walked straight to the man in the suit and said, "I'm Su Chen. These days, if you have money, you are the boss. As long as you sign for a Bugatti, not only will the people around not laugh at you, they will probably flatter you. You can hold your head high. It all depends on Bugatti." Hearing Su Chen's words, the man in the suit immediately reached out his hand respectfully. "Hello, Mr. Su." Su Chen just wanted to show off as soon as possible, and his tone was slightly impatient. "Don't be long-winded. Hurry up." "Yes, yes." The man in the suit handed over a contract in his hand, bowed 180 degrees, and hurriedly said, "Hello, Mr. Su. Please sign for it." Lu Hua and Wang Xiaolian saw this scene and couldn't help but be stunned. Su Chen didn't immediately take the contract, but looked back at Wang Xiaolian's incredulous face and said jokingly, "Wang Xiaolian, do you really think I'm just a country boy? You're wrong. I originally wanted to fall in love with you as an ordinary person, but what I got in return was your betrayal. Now I'll lay my cards on the table. I'm a super rich second generation." After saying these words in a sonorous and powerful voice, Su Chen directly took the contract and a pen in front of everyone's stunned eyes. While Su Chen was speaking, the man in the suit answered the phone. After hearing the voice on the phone, his face suddenly changed. Su Chan was in high spirits and was about to sign the contract. Stop. The man in the suit immediately stopped Su Chan from signing. Su Chan frowned. What's the matter? Is there a problem? The man in the suit said, I just received a call from the headquarters saying that the customer information was wrong. This Bugatti is not yours, so I'm sorry. Su Chen's face stiffened, and he said anxiously, It's not mine. Are you sure? The man in the suit nodded heavily. It's indeed not yours. If you have any questions, you can contact our headquarters and report the remittance number when you order the car. Hearing this, Su Chan suddenly froze. This Bugatti was a reward from the system. He didn't order it all. How could there be a remittance number? Ding! The godly tycoon system failed to tamper with the world data. The Bugatti Veyron obtained by the host completing the special delivery will be delivered in 2 months. Hearing this notification, Su Chan was both angry and disappointed. What kind of stupid, godly tycoon system is this? I've already pretended, and now you're telling me that the Bugatti Veyron will arrive in 2 months? Are you kidding me? On the side, Lu Hua laughed. Haha, stupid thing. I knew that the car wasn't his, but he still pretended like a retard. Wang Xiaoyan also sneered. Get out of here like a clown. Don't embarrass yourself. You even said that you're a super rich second generation. What a joke. The people around who were watching the fun also roared with laughter. Damn, how can there be such a funny person? Looking at his pretentious act, I really thought that the Bugatti was his. I'm laughing so hard that my stomach hurts. This guy's acting was so good. I almost thought that it was a counterattack, but it turns out that this guy was just playing a prank. Quickly take a picture and post it on the internet. It'll definitely go viral. Hearing the laughter around him, even if Su Chen's skin was thick, he couldn't help but feel his cheeks burning. However, Su Chan still had some doubts, so he said, If this car isn't mine, then whose is it? The man in the suit didn't respond. He glanced around and immediately walked in front of Wang Haoran. Mr. Wang, I'm really sorry. We made a mistake. This Bugatti was ordered by you. He handed out the contract and pen. Ding, the host manipulated behind the scenes, prevented the protagonist Su Chan from signing for the Bugatti, gained 800 villain points. Su Chan protagonist aura -40. Host villain aura +40. Wang Haoran immediately understood that it was Zhang Li who solved the problem. He took the contract and pen and signed his name on it. The man in the suit who delivered the car immediately asked the driver to open the rear of the car and quickly set up the unloading board. The man in the suit respectfully asked, Mr. Wang, do you need help? Wang Haoran shook his head. I'll do it myself. He walked into the transparent car, got into the driver's seat of the Bugatti, and smoothly drove the car out. Boom, boom, boom. The Bugatti Veyron's engine roared like a beast. When the surrounding boys heard it, they were extremely envious. When the girls heard it, they only felt that their legs couldn't close. Wang Haoran's head slightly poked out of the car window and said to Su Muyan, Come on, let's go for a ride. Oh, Su Muyan nodded with both joy and worry. She was happy because Wang Haoran invited her to go for a ride, but she was worried because she felt that the gap between her and Wang Haoran was too big. Although her family's conditions were not bad, and her parents also had very respectable jobs, she wasn't particularly rich. At the bottom of Su Muyan's heart, she feels a little inferior, because Wang Haoran was too outstanding, so outstanding that she felt that she wasn't worthy of Wang Haoran. Perhaps Qin Yunhan and him, who were well-matched in terms of social status, were a match made in heaven. Su Muyan's imagination ran wild, and the Bugatti started moving. About 10 minutes later, the Bugatti arrived at a lake near the Qingling campus. Wang Haoran and Su Muyan got out of the car and sat on a rock by the lake, looking at the scenery in the lake. Wang Haoran saw that Su Muyan was frowning and seemed to have a lot on her mind, so he couldn't help but ask, What are you thinking about? I'm thinking between me and Qin Yunhan. Who do you like more? There was no one else there, so Su Muyan didn't hide it and directly said what was on her mind. Wang Haoran immediately answered, Of course I like you more. Su Muyan pursed her lips and was a little jealous. If Qin Yunhan asked you this question, you would definitely say that you like her more, right? Wang Haoran sighed. Do you want to hear the truth from me? Yes. Su Muyin nodded heavily. Wang Haoren said honestly, actually, I didn't say who I like more. I like both of you. These words were sincere. After all, both of them were female leads, so they were both flesh and blood. He didn't say who he liked more. Hearing this answer, Su Muyin was full of resentment. You're too much of a playboy, Wang Haoren said. I've never told anyone that I would be loyal to one person. At this point, he suddenly stared at Su Muyin and said, Did you confess to me before? Did you confess to me before? I promise you now. From now on, you're my girlfriend. Su Muyin's face was full of joy, but then she was a little worried. What about Qin Yunhan? Wang Haoren smiled and said, She's been my girlfriend since a long time ago. Hearing this, Su Muyin was shocked. Then she said angrily, Since you and Qin Yunhan are already boyfriend and girlfriend, why are you still saying this to me? You're too domineering. If I don't act domineering, do you want me to watch you be snatched away by the main character, and then let you and the main character work together to deal with me? The villain? Do you think I'm tired of living? Wang Haoren secretly complained, but he said, Have you seen the demigods and semi-devils? I think I'm like Duan Zhengshan. I like both you and Qin Yunhan, but if I have to give up on one, I can't do it no matter what. Su Muyin was angry and amused at the same time. She said, Duan Zhengshan died in the end because of his wives. Will you die for us? Wang Haoren nodded. Yes. Su Muyin snorted and turned her head to the side. She said angrily, Then you can go now. Hurry up and die. Hurry up and die. As soon as she finished speaking, splash! The sound of someone falling into the water rang out. Su Muyin's body trembled. She turned her head and shouted anxiously at the huge ripples in the lake. Hey, I was joking. Why did you take it so seriously? Hurry up and come up. The ripples gradually calmed down, but there was no head on the lake. I was just saying it out of anger. I didn't really want you to die. Hurry up and come up. Hurry up and come up. Hurry up and come up. As long as you come up, I'll agree to anything you want. Su Muyin shouted at the lake until her voice was hoarse. However, there was still no movement on the lake. She was so anxious that she started crying. She was a landlubber and couldn't swim at all. If she jumped in to save Wang Haoren, not only would she miss the opportunity to save him, she would also put herself in danger. Someone fell into the water. Hurry up and save him. Although Su Muyin was anxious, she still had some rationality. She immediately ran to the road by the lake and asked for help from some passers-by. Little girl, where is he? An old man in his 60s strolled by. Over there. Su Muyin immediately led the way. The old man often exercised, so his movements were very agile. He quickly rescued the fainted Wang Haoren and placed him on a flat rock. Su Muyin immediately performed first aid. When Wang Haoren felt that it was about time, he woke up in a daze. Bad guy, bad guy, bad guy. Su Muyin hammered Wang Haoren's chest with her hands. She cried loudly, venting her inner emotions. However, the strength she used to hit him couldn't be any gentler. Seeing this scene, Wang Haoren immediately imitated the way the domineering male protagonists dealt with the female protagonists in idol dramas. Bad. Su Muyin's mouth was suddenly blocked, and she couldn't speak. After a few minutes, Wang Haoren looked at her with a smile and asked, Have you calmed down? If not, I'll let you hit me a little longer. Su Muyin snorted, I don't have the strength. I don't want to hit you anymore. Wang Haoren continued to ask, Then do you want to promise me? Su Muyin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Consider it my bad luck. Although this guy in front of her was too much, he was willing to die for her. There was no doubt about his intentions. Moreover, Su Muyin was well aware that her mind was filled with a certain someone. She couldn't forget him at all. If she forced herself to do so, she would only be the one suffering. After the knot in her heart was untied, Su Muyin also looked to the side and was about to thank the old man who saved her. However, the old man had already left when the young couple got tired of each other. Su Muyin could only thank him in her heart. By the way, when Su-chan delivers packages to you in the future, give him a bad review. Seeing that Su Muyin was no longer making a fuss, Wang Haoren remembered another thing, so he specifically reminded her, Okay, Su Muyin nodded obediently. Immediately, Wang Howren immediately used his contacts to convey the same message. That was, when you meet a courier named Su Chun who delivers packages to them, you must give him a bad review. Among these contacts, there were Qin Yunhan, Mu Zhaozhao, Wen Jing, Qiu Qianwei, Ji Shui Yao, and so on. Anyway, as long as the relationship with Wang Howren was above friendly, he informed them all. He also asked them to spread the news to their friends and classmates. Chapter 231. Su Chun rode the electric scooter through the campus. His heart could not calm down for a long time. He was extremely angry. I thought this Su Muyin was a good girl. It turns out that she's also a gold digger. The protagonists in Shuangwen novels were all selfish, and Su Chun was no exception. In Su Chin's view, Su Muyin did not like him, but liked a rich second-generation heir. She was definitely not a good woman. In fact, from an objective point of view, Wang Howren was handsome and rich. Wasn't it normal for beauties to like him? What about Su Chin himself? He was a poor delivery student who liked to talk big. He didn't look very good either. Why would beauties like him? Of course, Su Chin was not aware of this, and he would not find fault with himself at all. He only had one thought now, and that was to continue delivering packages. After half a day of exploration, he had figured out the system's reward mechanism. When he delivered packages, he would not get a reward every time. Only when he delivered to a particularly beautiful woman and the other party gave a 5-star rating would it be considered a special delivery. Other than Su Muyin, Su Chun had not met a second beautiful customer. However, Su Chun did not panic. This was because he was responsible for half of the deliveries in this Qingling campus. Roughly calculating, he delivered an average of 200 to 300 packages a day. With such a large number, the probability of meeting a beautiful customer was still very high. After all, in Qingling University, there were still many beautiful female juniors and seniors. In addition, there were also some very beautiful female teachers, such as Lu Yu, Ji Shui Yao, and Qiu Qianwei, the 3 professors. Soon, Su Chun came downstairs of the female dormitory. He took out some packages from the box of the electric scooter and contacted the customer according to the information on the package. Qin Yunhan, this is one of the 3 campus beauties among the freshmen. Qin Yunhan? Su Chun saw the real name on one of the packages and could not help but be happy. After the phone was connected, Su Chun immediately said, "Hello, is this Qin Yunhan? Your package has arrived. Please come to the first floor of the dormitory to pick it up." Coming, a short reply came from the other side of the phone, and then the call was hung up. After hearing the other party's answer, Su Chun also raised his head in anticipation. After a while, he saw a tall girl walking out of the dormitory building. This girl was more than one, 7 meters tall and extremely beautiful. When Su Chun saw the girl, he was pleasantly surprised, because this girl was one of the 3 campus belles, Qin Yunhan, who had been selected by the campus forum. Su Chun pointed to a place on the express delivery list and said, "Hello, your express delivery. Please sign for it." Qin Yunhan didn't have any extra expression on her face. She took the pen and signed it. Su Chun asked, "Qin Yunhan, can you give me a 5-star rating?" The girl in front of him was the school belle. There was nothing to nitpick about her appearance. If she could give her a 5-star rating, it would be considered a special delivery. The reward for the previous special delivery was a Bugatti Veyron. It could be seen that the following rewards were definitely not bad. He estimated that the reward would be at least 10 million yuan. After hearing Su Chin's words, Qin Yunhan was stunned for a moment. "Junior?" Su Chun smiled and explained, "I'm a sophomore. I'm a part-time delivery guy." Qin Yunhan replied with an "oh." Since they were from the same school, she was ready to take out her phone and give him a 5-star rating. However, when she was about to give the score, she suddenly remembered something and asked, "What's your name?" "Su Chun." Qin Yunhan was surprised. "You're Su Chun." Su Chun was curious and happy. He asked excitedly, "Why, do you know me?" Qin Yunhan sneered and said, "Oh, I don't know you." Then she gave him a score on the mobile app. Su Chun was looking forward to the reward, so he used his mobile phone to refresh the customer's rating. He quickly saw the score Qin Yunhan gave him. "Junior, I didn't provoke you. You Why did you give me a bad review? Su Chen was surprised. Qin Yunhan curled her lips and said, I don't like you, so I gave you a bad review. Is there a problem? Su Chen, ding, the host manipulated behind the scenes, causing the protagonist Su Chen to receive a bad review and unable to complete the special delivery. Gained 600 villain points. Su Chen protagonist aura -30. Host villain aura +30. After Qin Yunhan said those words to Su Chen, she turned around and went back to the dormitory building. Su Chen was very depressed. However, he was a very cheerful and very carefree person. Even when Wang Xiaolian broke up with him, although he was sad, he could still easily say, let's break up, the next one will be better. Su Chen adjusted his mood and continued to deliver packages. The next few orders were all for girls. It was a pity that these female customers were average-looking. Although they still gave him a 5-star rating, it still couldn't be considered a completed special delivery. After delivering in this female dormitory building, Su Chen came to a building in the music department. Su Chen took out a small palm-sized box from the box of the tricycle. This small box was shipped confidentially. But based on Su Chen's experience in delivering packages, there were only a few things that were shipped confidentially. Judging from the shape of the small box, Su Chen directly guessed what it was. This was a box of small umbrellas. Su Chen picked up the phone and said habitually, Are you free? Your package has arrived. Please sign at the door on the first floor of the music building. I'll be right there. The voice on the phone was a woman's, and it sounded very urgent. Su Chen couldn't help but smile. When buying this kind of confidential item online, almost all the buyers would quickly rush over to sign after receiving the courier call. After all, these buyers didn't want others to know that they bought a confidential item. Su Chen waited for less than a minute and saw an elegant woman trotting over. So beautiful. The temperament is even better. Su Chen was a little stunned. Where's my package? The elegant woman hurriedly asked. Su Chen handed out the small box. Here, please sign. The elegant woman quickly wrote down her name and hurriedly took the small box in her hand. Su Chen looked at the signature curiously and immediately knew the elegant woman's name. Qiu Qianwei? She was Professor Qiu from the music department. Su Chen was secretly surprised. Su Chen knew that there were 2 new goddess-level professors in Qingling High School, but he hadn't seen them yet. He didn't expect to see them here today. However, Su Chen's heart soon felt extremely regretful. This Qiu Qianwei bought this kind of confidential item online. She must be able to find it herself. It seemed that she had a boyfriend, and their relationship was very deep. What a pity. But regret aside, Su Chen didn't forget the business. So he said, Can you give a 5-star review? Because he was afraid of causing Qiu Qianwei's disgust, Su Chen didn't reveal the other party's name and identity. After all, Qiu Qianwei bought this kind of confidential item. She must feel guilty. If he revealed the other party's identity, wouldn't it make her uncomfortable? Qiu Qianwei quickly nodded and said yes. Su Chen was very happy when he heard it. Finally, he could complete another special delivery. What would be the reward this time? Qiu Qianwei took out her mobile phone and was ready to use the shopping app, but when she was about to give a 5-star review, she saw the name of the courier boy displayed. Your name is Su Chen? Professor Qiu, you know me too? Su Chen felt very strange, and, at the same time, he had a bad feeling in his heart. I don't know you. Qiu Qianwei smiled and shook her head. She immediately gave Su Chen a bad review on the mobile phone and then left. Ding, the host manipulated behind the scenes, causing the protagonist Su Chen to receive a bad review and be unable to complete the special delivery. Gained 600 villain points. Su Chen protagonist aura -30. Host villain aura +30. The elegant figure that turned around made Su Chen, who received another bad review, unable to be angry at all. However, Su Chen was still inevitably depressed. What's going on? She clearly said that she didn't know me. Why did she give me a bad review? What did I do? After another failure, Su Chen took a much longer time to adjust his mentality than before. At this time, it was getting dark, and there were only a few deliveries left. Therefore, Su Chen directly rummaged through the many deliveries and was ready to find a beautiful customer to deliver. Ji Shuiyao from the Marine Biology Department building. This is another goddess professor from the Marine Biology Department. It's her. Su Chun found a customer's package from the cargo box of the electric tricycle. He immediately got on the electric tricycle, turned the throttle, and headed toward the Marine Biology Department building. 10 minutes later, Su Chun received another bad review. What the hell? Even if Su Chin's mentality was good, he couldn't help but collapse at this moment. Ding! The host manipulated behind the scenes, causing the protagonist Su Chun to receive a bad review and be unable to complete the special delivery. Gained 600 villain points. Su Chun protagonist aura -30. Host villain aura +30. Ding! The host manipulated behind the scenes, causing the protagonist Su Chin's mentality to be damaged. Gained 800 villain points. Su Chun protagonist aura -40. Host villain aura +40. Wang Haoran, who had just walked into the finance department building for the evening class, received 2 system prompts. It was still 7:30 in the evening, and the evening class was until 10:30. There were a total of 3 classes. The teacher for all 3 classes was Lu Yu. The first 2 classes were theory classes, and the last class was a practical class. Because of the privilege granted by Lu Yu, Wang Haoran actually didn't have to come. After all, if he came, he wouldn't learn anything. However, there was still a pretentious Wang Linxin in this class, and he had to be punished. Otherwise, Linxin would definitely be able to show off until he was flying, obtaining a vast amount of points. In the first 2 classes, Linxin didn't have much chance to show off, and Wang Haoran didn't have to spend much effort. Time quietly passed, and it was 9:30 in the practical class. Wang Haoran continued to buy and sell him shares, and the funds in his account rose crazily. Lu Yu, who was patrolling, saw this and asked Wang Haoran angrily, "How can your judgment be so accurate? How did you do it?" Wang Haoran smiled and asked, "Professor Lu, do you really want to know?" Lu Yu nodded, "Of course." Wang Haoran said, "I can tell you if you want, but you have to promise me one thing." Lu Yu quickly said, "Tell me, what is it?" Wang Haoran blocked with his hand and made a gesture that he was about to whisper. Lu Yu bent down slightly and moved her ear closer to Wang Haoran. Wang Haoran mustered up his courage and whispered, "Call me good brother, and I'll tell you." Lu Yu's face froze, and her face was filled with anger. She slapped Wang Haoran's computer desk. Ding! The female lead Lu Yu's favorability towards the host has decreased by 20. Current favorability is 20, friendly. Wang Haoran was stunned. He had always wanted to tease Lu Yu, but he didn't expect her to have such a big reaction. Lu Yu had acknowledged him as her husband on Weibo in front of the netizens. Now, he just wanted Lu Yu to call him good brother secretly. Was it that difficult? In her surprise, Lu Yu stared at Wang Haoran and said seriously, "Do you know what principles, ethics, and norms are?" Lu Yu's reaction wasn't without reason. In her opinion, she was the teacher and Wang Haoran was the student. It was disrespectful for the student to say such words. Seeing Lu Yu being so serious, Wang Haoran was a little speechless. It was just a joke. Was it that serious? It even involved the principles and norms. However, Lu Yu's reaction was obviously serious. In order to get back the favorability he had lost, Wang Haoran could only say, "Professor Lu, I didn't know what I said. It was just a joke. Please don't take it seriously." Seeing Wang Haoran's good attitude, Lu Yu didn't continue to pursue the matter. She only said, "Only this time. It won't happen again. Definitely, definitely." Ding! The female lead Lu Yu's favorability towards the host has recovered. Current favorability is 40, very friendly. Receiving the system's notification, Wang Haoran was secretly relieved. However, he had a bad thought in his mind. After dealing with Lu Yu, he had to bring her here. Then, he would ride the horse and gallop with pride. "Hurry up and tell me. Why is your judgment so accurate?" Lu Yu brought up the previous topic again. Hearing this, Wang Haoran hesitated for a moment before saying, "I have my master's guidance." With the existence of the identity gap, no matter how outstanding he was in the stock market, he wouldn't be able to win Lu Yu's heart. Since that was the case, there was no need for him to waste his breath and analyze it for her. Therefore, Wang Haoran directly found an excuse to brush Lu Yu off. Lu Yu continued to ask, "Who is your master?" Wang Haoran lied. "I swore to my master that I would never reveal who he is. Otherwise, I would be struck by lightning." "Professor Lu, you wouldn't want to force me to my death, right?" Hearing this, Lu Yu naturally didn't continue to ask. However, she secretly guessed in her heart. Wang Haoran's trading accuracy was simply too high. Even Lu Yu felt ashamed of her inferiority. To be able to teach a disciple like Wang Haoran, his master must be a top figure in the stock market. However, in the current financial world, no one could compare to her. How could he teach Wang Haoran? Could it be him? Suddenly, a person on the internet appeared in Lu Yu's mind. That's right, he was the mysterious person with the ID Peerless Stock God. After this thought appeared, Lu Yu admired this peerless stock god even more. After all, the disciple of the peerless stock god was better than her, not to mention his own ability. In the financial world, he was definitely the #1 person in the world. The title of peerless stock god was well-deserved. Ding! The female lead Lu Yu's favorability towards the host's peerless stock god identity has increased by 10. Current favorability is 40, very friendly. Wang Haoran was secretly happy when he received this news. The favorability between the avatars and the main body was now equal. However, the main body had no hope of wooing Lu Yu, but the avatars still had a high chance of success. Looks like I need to build up the character of the avatars. At the moment, the information revealed by the peerless stock god was still a little too thin. Lu Yu only knew that he was the best in the stock market and was a man. She didn't know anything else. For example, how old the peerless stock god was, what his body size was, what his social status was, and so on. All of these needed to be molded to make the character of the peerless stock god more realistic. Only then would it be possible to deal with Lu Yu. In the computer room, Lin Shun was focused on operating the computer and buying and selling stocks. The income in his account had already reached 5%. According to this trend, after the practical class, the income would be about 50%. This profit was definitely enough to shock the students. At that time, he would definitely be able to obtain a large number of points. With points, he could exchange for new abilities. Lin Shun was looking forward to it. "Student Lin Shun, which stock did you buy?" Just as Lin Shun was rejoicing, Mu Zhaozhao's voice came from the side. Lin Shun subconsciously stepped on the socket under the table with his foot and replied with a smile, "Beautiful sister, it's on my computer screen. Take a look." Mu Zhaozhao looked at Lin Shun's computer screen, but from the corner of her eye, she saw the socket under the table. Lin Shun's foot was actually stepping on the connection between the plug and the socket. Mu Zhaozhao immediately smiled and reminded him, "Aren't you afraid of getting electrocuted?" Lin Shun said, "I'm very careful. I won't." Compared to the electric shock, he was more worried that Mu Zhaozhao would accidentally kick off the power cord and cause his computer to shut down. "Student Lin Shun, I'll be leaving then." Mu Zhaozhao saw that she couldn't kick the power cord, so she returned to her seat and sent a message to Wang Haoran. The operation failed. When Wang Haoran saw the message, he prepared to do it himself. About 3 minutes later, in the computer room, Lin Shun complained, "What kind of stupid computer is this?" The screen actually turned blue. After that, Lin Shun rebooted his computer and logged into his account to continue trading. But just as he logged in, the computer screen turned blue again. Lin Shun couldn't take it anymore, so he raised his hand and said, "Professor Lu, there's a problem with my computer." Lu Yu's computer was the main computer. Without the permission of the main computer, other computers couldn't be opened. Lu Yu, who was also trading stocks, operated the main computer for a while and said, "Change to computer number 56. "Okay," Lin Shun responded and turned on another computer in the computer room. 10 minutes later, the computer was successfully turned on. Lin Shun logged into his account again and entered the stock trading interface. But just as he was about to operate it, the screen suddenly flashed. He raised his hand again and said, "Professor Lu, there's a problem with computer number 56 too. Change to number 57 next to it." Lu Yu replied. Lin Shun immediately did as he was told. 1 minute later, "Professor Lu, There's a problem with computer number 57 too. Lu Yu was trading stocks, but her train of thought was interrupted many times. This made her a little depressed. She temporarily stopped trading stocks and came to Lin Chen's side. She looked at the blue screen on the computer. This seemed to be a sign that the computer was infected. Lu Yu asked, "The 3 computers you used in a row were all like this?" "Yes, they were all like this." The screen turned blue for no reason. Lin Chen nodded. Lu Yu's gaze swept across the other computers in the computer room. They were all fine. After thinking for a while, Lu Yu went back to the main computer and operated it. She opened up another computer's permission. Another 1 or 2 minutes passed. "There's a problem again." Lin Chen's voice sounded in Lu Yu's ears again. Lu Yu frowned when she heard that. She thought to herself, "Is there something wrong with this brother of mine? Otherwise, why would every computer be infected?" To prevent Lin Chen from continuing to poison the computer, Lu Yu left the podium and came to Lin Chen's side. She said, "You don't have to attend this practical class." Lin Chen suddenly panicked. He lowered his voice and said, "Fifth sister, I don't believe you. I want to attend the practical class." Lu Yu comforted him. "It doesn't matter if you attend this practical class or not. You don't have to prove yourself. I know you're very good." After saying that, Lu Yu didn't wait for Lin Chen's reply. She went back to the podium and operated her own stock account. Lin Chen naturally wouldn't give up. Lu Yu knew that he was good, but the other students didn't. He wanted to show off. With that in mind, Lin Chen walked to the podium and begged in a low voice. "Fifth sister, I'm begging you. I want to invest in stocks. Can you lend me the main computer?" Lu Yu immediately shook her head and refused. "You can't use the main computer. If the main computer had a problem, they wouldn't be able to do the post-class summary for the practical class. Moreover, it might affect the other computers. This would affect the class." Lu Yu, who was dedicated to her duty, wouldn't agree to it no matter how much she loved her brother. Moreover, from her point of view, it didn't matter if Lin Chen attended the practical class or not. "Fifth sister, can you lend your laptop? Is that okay?" Lin Chen could only ask for the second best. Lu Yu was operating the laptop. However, she had already sold the stocks in her account. The account was currently idle. Lu Yu was doubtful. "You didn't poison my computer too, right?" Lin Chen retorted. "It's the computer in the computer room that has a problem. It's not my problem." Out of love for her brother, Lu Yu gave up her laptop. Anyway, she didn't lack the earnings from the stocks. "Thank you, fifth sister." Lin Chen let out a long sigh of relief. On the stock exchange software, he immediately switched fifth sister Lu Yu's account to his own. Lu Yu was a little anxious, so she went to pee. A few minutes later, she came back in her high heels. On the podium, Lin Chen stared at the laptop screen without moving. His forehead was covered in cold sweat. Lu Yu walked to the podium in confusion. Soon, she saw a patch of blue on the laptop screen. Lu Yu gritted her teeth and looked at Lin Chen. "Did you use some dirty website?" The computer in the computer room was used by the finance students. It was reasonable for it to have a problem. However, her laptop was for personal use. She had used it for so long and had never had a problem. However, when Lin Chen used it, there was a problem. It must be because of Lin Chen's operation. Lin Chen shrunk his neck and said, "Fifth sister, I really didn't use any website. It just happened out of nowhere." Lu Yu's anger was on the verge of exploding. She took a deep breath and said, "Go back to your seat and wait for the class to end." "Yes, yes." Lin Chen felt as if he had been pardoned. He quickly ran under the podium and went to his seat. Then he sat down obediently. Ding! The host manipulated behind the scenes and destroyed the opportunity for the main character Lin Chen to show off. Received 600 villain points. Lin Chen's protagonist aura -30. The host's villain aura +30. After punishing Lin Chen, Wang Haoren was able to buy and sell stocks in peace. The entire practical class was over very quickly. After class, Wang Haoren asked Lu Hua and the others to help him deal with the dorm inspection. Then, he went directly to the villa that Tang Bingyun gave him. There were 2 reasons for this move. First, he wanted to create the perfect image of the peerless stock god. The dorm environment was naturally not suitable, but the villa could provide an excellent environment. Second, Tang Bingyun returned to the villa after work. She even sent a message to Wang Haoran to go over. After leaving the school gate, Wang Haoran went to the villa. It was a medium-sized villa, about 300 square meters. There were many entertainment facilities, such as a gym, an underground pool, a sauna room, a karaoke room, and so on. Tang Bingyun said in the message that she had arrived at the villa, but she was not in the living room. Wang Haoran immediately used his X-ray vision to look around. Only then did he find Tang Bingyun swimming around in the underground pool. She was very relaxed. He was not in a hurry to find Tang Bingyun. Instead, he went to the gym. It was not convenient to show his face as the peerless stock god. Therefore, Wang Haoran's appearance did not play any role. However, a perfect figure could still show the charm of a man. Of course, Wang Haoran did not intend to deliberately train his muscles. Checking in at the gym was just to increase his persuasiveness. Wang Haoran opened the system shop and spent 4,000 villain points to exchange for two things. The first was the body-shaping pill. After taking this pill, 8 abdominal muscles would appear in a second. The lines of his body would also become perfect, looking like they were carved by an artist. The second was the voice-changing skill. With this skill, he could imitate all kinds of human voices. It was no exaggeration to say that with this skill, Wang Haoran could voice all the characters in an anime alone. Firstly, this was to avoid being recognized by others when he spoke to Liu Yu as the peerless stock god in the future. Secondly, a mesmerizing voice was a great weapon to make online dating a success. With a charming voice, it was too easy to talk about online dating. Even if it was a young lady who weighed 200 to 300 pounds, as long as she could speak with a charming, lowly voice, she would definitely have a boyfriend online. He would exchange it for things to use. Wang Haoran used the gym as the background and sprinkled some water on his body to create the effect of sweating after exercising. Then he took some photos that did not show his face, but only showed his muscles. Now that the photos were done, the next step was to add the words. Wang Haoran went online to search for some phrases that exercise and fitness bring about certain benefits. To put it bluntly, it was just some chicken soup. For example, self-discipline makes life more perfect, hard work leads to rewards, and so on. In short, whether it was the photos or the words, the purpose was to convey to Liu Yu that the peerless stock god was very self-disciplined, loved to exercise, and had a perfect figure. Especially his 8 abdominal muscles. They were very outstanding. After editing the content, Wang Haoran posted it on Weibo.